Woo, hey everybody, happy Halloween. Thanks for joining me today. Today's going to be a little bit different, but a lot of fun. I know a lot of you watch me for whiskey, but we got a lot of cocktails coming your way tonight, and I'm pretty excited. As you know, I'm Old Fashioned Ways. I'm Doc Martinez from Old Fashioned Ways, so I started on the cocktail side, right? And so I got some of my friends from the cocktail side to kind of join me tonight, come up with some neat and interesting new Halloween cocktails, which is perfect. All of us have cocktail, a lot of us have Halloween parties coming up and coming on soon. So it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. I know I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to see, kind of go through chat. There's a lot of people here in chat, so I really appreciate it. We have Tim, Spirit of the Cocktail, Iceman in here. Damo's Art, You're Drinking. Wait, what is that? It's cut off, so I can't see the whole name. I hate when that happens, Sometimes the names are really long. Can't read all of them. So Booze on the Rocks, of course, is in here. I'm in here. And let's see who else is in here. Tater Dom. What's up, Tater Dom? I was like, when you put "What's up, Doc," makes me in the carrots. I know what you're doing, making me think of a Bugs Bunny there. CA Scotty in the house. Let me see. I'm making sure I'm not missing anybody. I'm just going through them kind of quickly. We're going to jump into this pretty quickly. I have a few things to talk about, and then we'll get started because we want to start making some cocktails, Whiskey Corner. Hey, Carlos. Hey, thanks for joining, buddy. Glad to see you here. Let me see. I like whiskey a lot. I like bourbon a lot in here, too. Let me see. Michael Bortner. Cheers, Michael. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for reminding everybody, hit that like button. I really appreciate that. We're at 21 right now. 22 is my favorite number, so hopefully we get that 22 in there. They say I'm a little different. Hey, that's nothing wrong with being different. Nothing wrong with being different. Hey, Joe B, good seeing you. I'm glad you're in here as well with Carlos. Hey, Alex. I actually, a lot of people that I did my live with on Friday, I was getting all that packaging ready today. I didn't do any of it on Saturday. I don't know why. I should have, but it ended up being today as I'm getting everything else ready. So here's one of our guests, a drinking buddy, one of my faves. Yep. Dave Vogel in the house. All right. And of course, Rob's here. Rob's going to be one of the guests on here. So we're going to, let me kind of go over what's going to go on tonight. Let me bring up my notes so I don't mess any of it up. So we're going to have technically 5 guests. We're having 4 guests that are making cocktails. We have a special guest in between them. I have Gnome's Tavern on here. 1 drink, 3 bars from Bonnie. Rob's from Rob's Home Bar on here as well. David from Booze on the Rocks. And we have another special guest pop in as well. My announcements, my teasers before I go into bringing my first guest on. So this Saturday, if you've been watching me, we've been doing a lot of Texas best whiskey. We're trying to figure out which is the best Texas whiskey we've had, right? And I'm doing that with a few buddies of mine, Whiskey Shaman, Your Drinking Buddy, and Bourbon Jerk. We've done the first 4 of our brackets, so this coming Saturday will be our final one. I actually need to get that one done. I haven't even done it yet. So I need to film that and get that ready for Saturday. And then we'll be doing a live. We're going to be doing a live with all of our finals. We're going to put them together, do a live show, and try to figure out and come to some sort of consensus of what is the best Texas whiskey, period. Right. Also, let me see. What else am I missing? Texas blind bracket. We'll be doing Texas whiskey. Okay, I did that. And then that's it. That's my own. No, that's my only teasers. I got it all done. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring on my first guest. And my first guest on the show, hold on, let me get him on here. It's going to be Gnome. Gnome, look at that. Look at that.
How's it going?
Looking so, it's like you're just thinking so hard there, How you doing, buddy?
Thinking hard is not what I was put on this planet to do. So it takes a lot of effort.
It does sometimes. So I know you came. Before we even get into the. Should we do the cocktail and then talk about you? What do you think? Get a cocktail going, right? I think we need the cocktail.
First. I always liked when people talk to me, but I always know people like me talking while they're drinking. So
yeah, I think let's start off with yours. Let me. I should have done this earlier. I'm going to share the screen for a second and show your cocktail really quickly. So that if anybody's out there, I know if you didn't prep for it, it's hard to it's hard to do it now, but hold on. I'm gonna put this up here for a second. So this is what you're doing, right? BooBerry Old Fashioned, and he's gonna make it for us. This is just kind of the ingredients he's using. I kind of want to just let you see that for a second, and then I'm gonna bring him back up so we can make it together. So hopefully I typed it all right. I was typing these things kind of fast, so sometimes it just you miss a thing or two. So I know you'll fix it and correct it if not. So
yeah, it's I kind of just made this on the fly when you messaged me. I have not tested it yet, so we will see. But the story behind this is whenever we test people on our gin, they always say it tastes like berry notes and all that stuff. So I don't know. Halloween, berry, BooBerry. Who doesn't? Who can't make that connection?
And it only comes out once a year, that cereal, right? So I had to go buy a whole box of cereal just for this one too.
I'll see you munching them all during the show. I'll see you.
It's funny. My wife, who does not like cereal, has been passing by it and munching on it a little bit as well. So I used the only gin I had to use is one that Iceman gave me. So that's what I used to infuse it. I don't. Did you use the gin from your distillery? Or what did you use?
Yes, I use 7.3. Oh, I don't have a. Oh, I have a hat. Haha. Gentilly gin from 7.3. It's like it's not very juniper forward. So that's probably something to keep in mind. If you're not a big gin person, you could also just use vodka if you wanted to.
Yeah, but see, it's like you planned it, like you thought ahead without even thinking ahead.
It's also, I love free stuff, and I always wear free stuff.
Who doesn't like free stuff? And so we will be doing giveaways later on in the show. So I will be giving. I love to give away. I love to share. So I'll give away some stuff today as well.
Oh yeah, give me swag. I can be bought with swag. All right.
So is this in a mixing glass or straight in the glass that we're doing this?
I just do straight in the glass because
all right.
I don't like doing dishes. So I just dive right in. I do it as a build. Normally I tell people to do your cheapest ingredient first.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do 2 ounces of BooBerry.
All right, and I made some too, so I'm gonna be making your drink with you as well. It smells like the cereal. I'll give it that.
It's also not my most favorite.
Yeah. Look how dark that is.
Now you can.
Man, that is dark already.
I have a recipe for Blueberry Simple on my channel. Yeah, it's spooky.
Well, I should have done that.
Syrup that you can put in there, but I didn't put in there because I did the marshmallows. What's that?
All right. Oh, what's up? What's next?
Is I frozen or is he frozen?
We're
gonna do Peychaud bitters because I'm a New Orleanian.
All right. How many of these?
You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2. We're gonna do one more.
I knew it. I knew we would.
I want Peychaud bitters.
All right. And
now for the most shameless of all plugs, the Gnome's Tavern bitters. Can purchase them on the Etsy link. These are made with Earl Grey, and I love Earl Grey. So we're just gonna do 2 big drops in here. Well,
if I can get mine open,
a nice bitter drink right there.
That's what the teeth are for, right? There we go.
See, it's perfectly sealed.
Yeah, perfectly sealed. And there we go.
Good.
Nice big drop in there.
It's the only time to use your teeth. All right. And now, let's stir it up and drink it up.
Need a nice big ice in here?
Oh, yeah. Good big cube. Now, this is kind of my way of doing old fashions, especially at a bar. I always understir my old fashions. So the second that glass gets slightly cold, I stop because I feel like old fashions are bell curves. They come out as like too strong of a drink to the perfect drink to like a watered down mess. So I always understir my old fashions.
I do too.
Also, I make when there's an event, I'll make about 50 old fashions. So if I make them a little bit stronger, people usually sip. That allows me to make the other 50 drinks I have to make on the business. Right.
That's actually a smart way of thinking about it.
Yeah. I think the most I've ever made was 15 at one time.
That is quite a few to show at one time,
Yeah. All right, nice little lemon zest. And
All right.
bam. And now this is another trick I like to show people on the channel. If you wipe around where people put their hands, this is what an old bartender told me. Well, he's not that old, but yeah. I like to put it where their hands are because like what happens when you take a drink? Well,
Oh, yeah.
like your hand goes near your nose, and then also throughout the night, if your hands smell like the drink, usually people will order more of that drink.
Nice.
So that's what I like to do. Nice little trick. Ooh, this is like the juiciest lemon. I had to like. My wife was getting groceries. I was like, pick me up 2 lemons. She's like, why? I was like, it's 2 lemons. What do you mean, why? All right, let's dive on in. It's the first time for both of us.
Yeah, here we go. Cheers. Damn. Anybody out there that tries this, cheers to you too.
That's not terrible.
No. So up front, it really hits you with the blueberry. But then it kind of gets a little grainy, and then you taste the bitters afterwards. So
yeah, like I'm sitting on with the Earl Grey right now. That's just what I like. Yeah, no, I really do kind of like that. I do kind of like this. It's strange. Now I'm getting like marshmallow right now.
Well, there's marshmallow. I don't remember blueberries having marshmallows, but apparently it does.
I think all of them do because I did a Count Chocula one too. The Count Chocula one.
Yeah, and today, I know I saw your video today for your other cereal one. What was it? The Toast Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, yeah.
Yeah. So.
I have a buddy that's obsessed with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so I promised him I'd make him some burgers.
Well, that's nice of you to do that, you know. But yeah, that's interesting. So I like because on the nose you smell the lemon, but you smell that blueberry a lot. Like you'd smell that, and you get that in the front. And it quickly goes to kind of I guess the cereal, kind of that graininess from the cereal. And I did when I did this, I did run it through 2 filters to make sure I got most of that out. So
yeah, no, I actually really like this. So this is what I just kind of do. I just kind of like figure out. I just kind of guess what flavors work together, and I throw them in a glass and see what I hate, see what I don't. That's kind of how I work. I kind of work backwards.
Well, as we're drinking this, let's talk a little bit about you. So, as you talk, you are a bartender.
Yes, I am the lead ambassador at 7-3 Distilling right now.
In New Orleans.
I was in New Orleans. Yes, I was a distiller, but the front of house needed a little love, so I moved over to the front of house, and it's going great actually, and. We went from the company had 100 reviews on Google, and then I started, and it's now up to close to 500 reviews on Google. So we're doing a really good job. My crew is awesome. They're some of the funniest people I've ever met. So we're killing it.
It's always nice when you have a good crew to work with.
7-3 is the Whiskey Tree.
Okay. And is it available only? It's always good when you have a good crew for sure. But are you releasing it in Texas or only in New Orleans?
We're trying to get it. I think 25 different states of their total wines want to purchase it. So we're really excited about it. So our whole distillery has just been full of barrels. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited.
So it looks like you have a challenge here. It looks like somebody challenging you. Somebody's come out with a Grape Nuts Old Fashioned.
Grape Nuts. Good deal. Let's do it. I have never had thank you, Iceman. See, Iceman, I need to hire him as my publicist because he always puts my link everywhere.
Yeah. I saw you put that in, so it's in there. If you want to buy, you can do a shameless plug here. I know you talked about it for a second.
So if you know me, I love bitter drinks. I actually drink bitters by it straight all the time. And I always wanted to make my own, and I finally did. This is the Earl Grey bitters. It's made with Earl Grey, grapefruit, lemons, cardamom, and gentian roots.
Nice.
It's infused for several weeks. We make it here in New Orleans. My business partners are really great, and we're really excited. We got a few things off the pipe, and hopefully our plan is in 1 or 2 years that we would get our own brick and mortar store. So my favorite drink Actually, this has been really good with the Earl Grey. But if you don't want a weird drink, I drink martinis a lot, and this is fantastic in a martini. It's so great in a martini. But yeah, so that's the dream. That's the dream, is to make more bitters.
Well, it's you have to have dreams. If you don't have dreams, how do you move forward? You know, you have to have those dreams to move forward. So that's good to have them. No, and I got to use. This is the first time I got to use it. I was trying to figure out. I like to taste the bitter, like especially a new bitters, before I ever. Yeah, that's what I was actually going to do. Is go put some. Oh yeah, you do taste that Earl Grey. I love Earl Grey. Will you do me a favor? My favorite is Lady Earl Grey. Can we make me a Lady Earl Grey version of this?
Sure, I'll make a Lady Earl Grey for you, and maybe I'll send me a picture of you in like a blonde wig, and we'll put you on the label. That's
because the Lady Earl Grey also has a lot of the orange flavor in it as well. So a lot of times they'll have like little orange peel in there. It just, I don't know if you've ever had it. It's my favorite. I love that tea. I don't drink coffee. I drink tea every morning. So okay. that's one of my staple teas to drink. Earl Grey, Lady Earl Grey is the main one. I have a few other ones, but when I'm by myself and my wife's not making my tea for in the morning, because she tends to go through them, my normal is just go straight to that. Somebody wants to have a race with the Mickey Pumpkin. No, my wife would be so upset with me if I lost this Mickey Pumpkin.
Yeah, that did not seem. I know how you feel. This is like, so we just got our house, and my wife loves Halloween, so this is the first time she's gotten to like decorate an actual space. And yeah, I think she would kill me if I sold off any of her decorations. Ooh.
Hey, thank you, Antonio, for subscribing, and also Bourbon Hall, thank you for donating. I wasn't doing any donations tonight, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I'm way behind on chat. I don't know why my chat's not scrolling, so I'm way behind it. And 1 dash of orange bitters, just mix dash of Earl Grey bitters and 1 dash of orange. That actually does sound really good. You're talking about to make my lady Earl.
Hey, Rob, I'm trying to sell bottles. Don't give people solutions, all right? I was gonna upsell that and be at $30,
Yeah, I mean that's it's I don't blame you. I mean, I would have bought it. Yeah, I can't wait. So the only suggestion I have, when you finally come up with a whole bunch of different flavors, like when as you get to that point, I always want the little bottles so I can try all of them, so I know which ones I want to buy the big ones of, And I don't feel like enough companies do that. Like too many of them just want to sell this puppy. You don't want to sell any of that. Like I like when they give me a little 5. I'll pay for that. So
yeah, we're gonna do a barrel aged Earl Grey is what we're working on.
Ooh, what kind of barrel are you aging it in?
I think an oak is what I'm thinking. Probably. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. This is kind of this is our last meeting. My partners were like, yeah, let's do it. And then we have to make a celery one because my partner made a test label with the celery bitters. And my mother, so I have to make a celery bitter.
It's funny. Somebody said
by sales team. My mother.
Here's somebody saying, well, let's make a bottle of Earl Grey and then put orange in and resell it. There you go. You already got your Lady Earl. There's more to it than just orange, but I mean that would kind of work.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to give it a spin. But like I said, we're trying to get but yeah, it's been great. We are 25 away from being profitable. So if hopefully we get there.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, make sure Iceman put that link in there again. So anybody that's, after we talked about so long, we might have, gotten some people to enticed to buy it. Teapot bitters. I've never heard of teapot bitters, but I like tons of bitters. I mean, I have a collection of bitters, but it's not big enough. I'm always trying to buy more. So I like bitters. It's funny, though. A lot of times you go, because of most recipes call for the same Angostura and all that. I go to that a lot.
Yeah, it's usually when I go to.
You know what, man? As you're going through this drink, it just grows on you and grows on you more.
Yeah. It's kind of like one of those ones where I'm like, I didn't think I'd like it at first, and then I just finished it, and now I'm Now I'm sad because I need to save the rest of my Booberry to make a video.
So that breaks my heart. You just made any drink for me, not thinking you'd like it, but at least we liked it, you know.
Well, I want to
let's talk a little bit about your creative process. Like, so you've won awards, you know. Let's talk about some of the awards you won. So, I mean, you're not just any little schmuck off the street, you know. You're not me. You actually are a bartender, work in the distillery, have distilled gin, I think, right? Any whiskey? I can't remember if you've done any whiskey. Rum.
I distilled a little bit when I first started at 7.3. I helped with 1 or 2 batches, but yeah, no, just mostly rum.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I kind of get like a bloodhound thing. Is I get an idea in my head, and then like I can't get it out of my head until I put it into the drink, and then basically that's what I do. Is I throw in just whatever and I just kind of mix. So like recently, I was a semifinalist for the Deep Cut Eddie national competition. That was really cool, and I love Trailer Park Boys. And my wife and I would always say, frick off, because Randy, if you see Trailer Park Boys, Randy is...
I've never seen it.
It's hilarious. But he tells people to frick off all the time. And my wife and I would say it. So then I said fig off one time by mistake. And then I just was like, I need to now make a cocktail called Fig Off. And so then I worked on figs. I did a bunch of stuff. And then I entered into the contest and they loved it, which was hilarious. Because if you see on the list, because Chilled Magazine was the one that put it on for Deep Cut. If you see on the list, you'll see like, it was like a spring meadow, a child's dream, fig off, Ricky.
You gotta give him that picture and then just throw him off with that last line in there, you know.
Yeah, and it's just was such a cool thing. And then I recently won Garden of Glass, and that one, we make a drink at the bar that I hate. It takes a lot of work, and I just hate it. It's either too sweet or too tart. Mm-hmm. And this competition, 200 people bought tickets, and they would taste the cocktails and try them, and so I took that drink that we already had, and I was like, I hate this and this and this about it. So I took that out, and I was like, I love this about what we make. And so that's what I made. And then my coworker, Tina, was just like, you have to give it a name where 40 to 50-year-old women will remember. And so it was called Band of Blueberries because it was at the World War II Museum.
Oh, okay.
And I will tell you, it was one of the coolest feelings having like over 100 people come up to you and tell you how great your drink is and how awesome you are. It was really cool. But yeah, so just like competitions, it's about knowing what they want and what people are judging. Like if you're doing competition for the Sazerac company, you got to make sure you use all Sazerac brands. You can't like in the rules they'll tell you can use other brands, but they won't pick you. So like that's something you got to keep in mind. Or like, yeah.
Well, I mean, the cool thing is,
a drink I wasn't really.
Sorry, I said we should talk about Sazerac. The cool thing is, you used to work for Sazerac House.
Yeah, I used to work for the Sazerac. Yeah, for the Sazerac.
So I mean, you have the in on that. Years. You know what their products are and how their products work. So I think you can kick some butt on that.
Yes, I also, because I worked there, I had a bunch of Eagle Rare and E.H. Taylor in my house.
Nice.
So that's pretty sweet. I used to work for the Sazerac. In fact, I always joke I'm an expert at peeling because when I was hungover working at the Sazerac house, peeling was the one job no one wanted to do and no one would mess with you. So I could spend 2 hours just peeling lemons, and it was perfect. So I got really good at peeling.
So somebody earlier put a toffee bitters would be really cool. So I just want to throw that out to you. And somebody put here a band of blueberries.
Toffee would be really cool.
So you got a band of blueberries.
Like I said, I wasn't very. Look, I love bitters. I like a bitter taste, and like it was a drink I wasn't really proud of. I wasn't really excited to drink myself, but I knew it would be to a massive audience, and that's what I think I'm getting better at is knowing my audience. Yeah. So like I said, they loved it.
Yeah, and I started watching you because of Malort. You're making so many drinks with Malort, and if you can make a Malort drink taste decent, I figured you're a good bartender.
Did I tell you the owner of Malort and unemployed wine guy loved my cocktail in the last Malort contest?
No, that's
Oh,
pretty
they loved
cool.
it. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Yeah, that one was a hard competition because we had famous restaurants in New Orleans like Brennan's, Latitude 29,
Yeah.
Fives. Like it was the year with legit bartenders, and so like I didn't win first place, but it was still cool that I beat these like award-winning bars with my Malort cocktail.
That is pretty damn cool. And especially with Malort, Malort is one of those one that's hard to make taste good.
Yeah, and make sure you follow because we are getting in the final stages of writing the Malort cocktail book that's going to be released. We're hoping in February.
Hey, congratulations!
We have several cocktails. Yeah, we gotta do another taste test of all the cocktails, and then we have to do pictures and do a review, and then I have to send it to the publisher, and the publisher basically is going to tear it apart and make me sad. And then we will get the Malort cocktail book. And then, another shameless plug. Yeah, make sure you follow me because there's some cool stuff happening. Another thing happening is this is the fourth time I get to judge a top taco contest. I am now captain judge, so I got promoted.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really fun. It's my wife's favorite perk of marrying me is she gets free tacos, and they think I'm the food judge, and so they always give her extra tacos to win me over. But
If it works, it works.
Yeah, it works. It works. But yeah,
So,
is it my time off? I know I have to talk for hours.
well, yeah, I'm out of my drink. It's time for the next drink, so I'm gonna have you off of the side for a while, but I'm bringing you back. So if you want to hang out, stay on the side, and we'll bring you back in.
I'm gonna go. I like the Bills, so I'm gonna watch Aaron Rodgers cry for a minute, then I will be back.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank y'all. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget. What do you need to say? Oh, it's okay. He always like to say, "Don't forget to tip that bartender." Don't forget to tip that bartender. All right. So next, let me see. We have. Let me see, Dave. Where is he at? There we go. Here we go. Mr. Dave, how we doing, sir?
Hey, Doc. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on with me. You've been doing this for a while, and you're the man when it comes to making a lot of drinks. Because you are. I don't know how you come up with so many different drinks every week.
Some days it isn't easy.
Yeah, we were kind of chatting about that. That sometimes it is hard to come up with some new ones. But
And there are days, you try and do everything for the algorithm, and I stopped kind of doing the algorithm thing because there's so many cocktails out there. It's just everybody does the same old, and then you get a few people who try things new that either works or doesn't work. And I just figured, you know what? Since I try and make cocktails for everyone, I'm going to make something that somebody likes somewhere.
And it's true. I mean, there's a lot of your cocktails that are different to me, and and it makes me kind of think outside the box sometimes as well. And I like that. I like when I have to think outside the box because I do old fashioned. So sometimes I look at your drinks and think, how can I turn that into an old fashioned? Because it sounds very interesting. I want to try it, but I'm old fashioned, so I always try to change it. So I like that. You help me come up with some new ideas.
You can old fashioned almost anything. Well, almost anything. I don't know if I try that with Malort though.
I actually, me and him talked about it one time. We never came back to the idea, and we're like, we need to try it with Malort. We need to figure out how to make a Malort old fashioned that actually tastes good. So it's in our thoughts. It's in our thoughts for sure.
Because I live in Canada, I can't get Malort up here. They won't allow it to be imported. I don't know if it's just based on the import laws or if it's just the flavor. But I definitely would love to see a bottle up here someday. So
that'd be kind of cool. Well, maybe we can hand deliver, meet each other, and I'll hand deliver you a Malort bottle. How does that sound?
I'd appreciate that. I'd find you something nice and good and Canadian that you'd like.
Yeah, I actually the other night on my live, I have a 33-year-old Canadian whiskey. It's it's a hazmat. It's 141 proof or something like that. So it was interesting.
Who it is? Which one it is?
It was from. I can actually show you. It's right next to me here. Let me grab it real quick.
Perfect.
So it's a company that sold them all to other companies. So it's Nashville Barrel Company that bought this one, and it's Canadian. And you can see it's 33 years right there, and it's 149. I was off 149.16 proof. And we drank some and gave some away. So we did do. I opened that bottle that night and we dented it pretty well.
I don't think I've tried that one. I'd be about 84.5%.
It is. It's interesting. We drank it at the end of the night after we had quite a few other pours, so it didn't come off very hot like you would expect with any hazmat. So, which is always nice.
A good hazmat will just kind of set fire to you, and everybody likes to say, "Oh, it's smooth going down" when they're like choking and crying and their throats are burning, right? So.
It does at times, but if you warm up your palate right, you can actually do it and enjoy the taste and do that as well,
I just do some 151 straight out of the bottle. I used to do that all the time.
No. I would not do that.
And I did that on a couple of my videos too. I would do the egg yolk special and woo.
That's great. So I'm going to show, as we're talking here for a second, I'm going to show your recipe online. So you're doing the what was it called? The Devil's Margarita. Devil's Margarita. So I need to move all this.
It's actually it's really simple, and it omits orange liqueur, unlike most margarita variations, right?
Yeah. So if anybody wants to try it, it's we need Blanco Tequila, some lime, some simple syrup, and some red wine. So I'm going to make that small again so that you can start making that. Does it go in a big glass or kind of a small glass? Like how much? I
did do it in a bit of a coupe. You can do it. It's your base ingredients: 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces, 2.5, 4 ounces with a bit of a shake, 4.5 ounces.
So is there a lot of ice in this or no ice?
I serve it without ice, but you can. It doesn't really make a difference, actually. In some instances, if you do it with some ice, it'll actually make it easier to layer, especially if your layering game is not as good. And the red wine, I usually suggest something that's very low in the sugar value because you just don't want it to sink.
Yeah. And so you said this is a shake and drink, huh?
Yeah, it is.
All right, give me 1 second. I need to get a shaker. I don't have a shaker near me.
All right, so I'll walk everybody through it as I make the drink. So you want to start with 1.5 ounces of your Blanco Tequila. I suggest the Blanco because you're just going to get a better color separation for this one. And don't spend anything really expensive. One of my favorites, of course, is Alto Someca, and I like Cazador, but it's totally up whatever you really want to do. Now, we're going to use 3/4 ounce or 22.5 mils of 1-to-1 simple syrup. If you want to do a rich simple syrup, you can, but you're going to throw the flavors out just slightly. This is more of a subtle style margarita. And grab yourself a knife that is a little sharper than the one I'm using because I got to garnish the glass just for you. And we're going to use a full ounce of lime juice on this, so just your average lime, just squeeze it in. One of the things that a lot of people kind of guess with limes is your average size lime is about 1 ounce, and a good cocktail will allow you a little bit of variation. Right? So if you're just off slightly, not a big deal, especially with this one. Shake it with ice for a few minutes, a few seconds, 8 to 10. This is one that you needed to actually dilute properly. But you don't want to over dilute it. And I'm going to fine strain it in because I just want to keep out the little ice crystals from the top. So
it's funny. I like those little ice crystals.
In a lot of drinks, it really makes sense. The reason for a drink like this that I try and keep that out is because I don't want it to dilute more than it should, right? So
that does make sense.
like I said, this is a standard coupe, and I'm using a little bit of a Merlot based on what I can get. This is one made in British Columbia. Now, when it comes time to actually layering this, the recipe says about 3/4 of an ounce, 22.5 mils. You can go with an ounce or a little bit more, personal flavor, because the first thing you're going to get when you actually drink this is you're going to get that hit of the red wine. So you want something that's kind of dry that'll really taste that flavor.
So any secrets how to get it to stay on top like that?
Well, I start with a drier red wine. The other thing is when you're going to get a little bit of bleed on it, right? But what's going to happen is I use a spoon, and a lot of people will use the back of the spoon. I'll actually flip the spoon around, and what will happen is my wine will hit directly in the center, and that'll actually slow that flow down to something a bit more controllable. Now, you can do it with a speed pour spout just by capping the hole that's in there, but my garnish game is terrible, but here we go. This is my devil's margarita.
Nice. Mine doesn't look like yours. Mine kind of just all blended together, but I've never been good at layering stuff, so.
I've had some practice since I started the channel.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things that needs some practice, huh?
One of my favorite things with cocktails, and I love layering, actually. I just love seeing the different layers. And when I'm making a cocktail, I get really pissed off if I can't get it to work right. So, and usually I'm always trying something new for the first time on camera.
Probably the worst place to try something new, huh?
Oh, no. Every single time is generally brand new. But if everything falls apart, I will scrap it and reshoot the video. And that's pretty rare. So, like I said, when you try this, you're immediately going to get that little red wine hit. And then you'll get the tequila behind it, a little bit of sweetness, and you should get that lime following it up.
Oh, yeah. That's actually really good. I like the way that kind of goes through that evolution in the mouth. That's actually really good.
So, and it's not your standard tequila variation, right? So you can mix it all together, but I like it with its layers just because it gives you that something slightly different. And you get a great look and presentation once you got it, right?
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's actually... The flavors do balance it, everything really well, and it just kind of goes through a nice level evolution of flavors there too. I like that.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite little Halloween drinks. Well, actually, drink it any time of the year.
Why not? Why not?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is good. That is good. So as we're drinking this, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, David from Booze on the Rocks. I like making cocktails for everyone. I live up in very far northern Canada right now. Of course, there's snow on the ground as of this week, and it's -8 degrees Celsius, which I guess would be the 30s or the 20s. My Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion is terrible doing that math. But I started doing this as a hobby, and it was kind of fun. But when I was 19, I worked in a bar, and it was the first bar I ever worked in. And I used to work in the kitchen, so when I would finish in the kitchen after I was done cleaning, I'd come up to the bar and I'd serve on the back bar, which was usually the booze. And the very first cocktail that I ever made was a whiskey sour. And I like telling this recipe because this version of the whiskey sour is completely different than anything you'll basically find online, because all it was a shot, so 2 ounces of whiskey, and then Minute Maid lemonade. And that was his version of the whiskey sour. Not highbrow at all. It was actually a small country bar, right? So I served a lot of I served a lot of beer, I served a lot of whiskey, all that sort of stuff. And of course, the pool tables were right in front of me, and I got to see all the fights that happened. But I then got out of the bar for a long time, and I realized at the time, I got out because I was drinking too much, actually. Because one of the things they don't tell you about bar culture can be that you drink after work with your shift sometimes, or you step on the other side of the bar when your shift is over and your friends are there, so you drink some more, right? Because you're spending time with your friends.
Yeah.
And then you realize, next thing you know, you've outdrank your paycheck a couple of times. You go, whoa, okay, there's an issue here. So I actually stepped back. Now, let's be honest. I was 19, just out of high school. And in Canada, it's legal drinking age is 19, unless you're in Quebec, which it's 18. Unlike in the US, which is 21, I believe.
Yeah.
So I then knuckled under and got a real job, as I called it. And eventually, many years later, I came back to this because I wanted to, really wanted to experiment and learn something. Because I generally, as a rule of thumb, I don't drink much, right? I love a good whiskey. I love a good bourbon, Canadian whiskey. I love a good scotch. And cocktails were something I didn't know a lot about. And I figured, you know what, I could learn something interesting, which is how I got into this, actually, right? And now I spend more time making cocktails than most people I know, unless they're working in a bar.
Nice. So out of curiosity, with all the cocktails you've made, do you have a favorite?
My favorite? Oh, I've got a few. The Electric Circus is one of the few that I've really, really enjoyed. It's just an oddball, equal measures, last word variation.
Okay.
And I actually saw that one on Steve the Bartender, and I had to make some changes for my version of it because of what I could get up here in Canada. And the other one is a rye tie, actually, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but I like a good rye whiskey with the bitter float on top, and just the flavors and everything works really, really well. So those are probably my favorite two cocktails at the moment. So,
yeah, that actually sounds like a lot of fun. That I like that. Did you do a video on the circus one? I don't remember seeing that. It must be an older video.
Did. That was probably close to 2 years ago.
You should do a video on your favorite cocktails and make those two and just share those with us, because I know with all the people that follow you, they probably like to know what are your favorite cocktails are.
I'd really have to really sit down and think about it. And I could do that because those cocktails are totally diametrically opposed in the way they're built too. So
yeah.
And one served in upstyle, the other one served over crushed ice with that float. Rye heavy versus not rye heavy. Yep.
Now,
Absolutely.
I mean, both those. The second one, I like. So over the last year, I've come to like ryes a lot more. They weren't not my thing in the beginning, but I've started to enjoy them a lot more, and so that sounds like something that'll be fun to do.
Yeah. So if you ever get yourself up here, or ever get the chance, you've probably done the standard Crown Royal, but 40 Creek is pretty good. There's a couple of stuff like Pike Creek. Wiser's does in big, thick, square bottles. They do a 15, an 18, and a 22-year-old. Each one of them actually looks color-wise totally different, and the flavors the way the flavors work together are really different as well too. So you could use any of those, right? So,
what was the second one you mentioned? Okay, you said Crown. What was the second one you mentioned? 40 Creek, right?
Yeah, 40 Creek. It's really It's really, really popular in Canada.
So right. I tried that for the first time when I was at Disney. They had a flight menu. I went to ate at their Canadian at the Epcot, and they had a flight, and it was that was one of them on there. The one they had on there, I was not crazy about, but I think it was the low end one of it. So I don't know if there's some different levels of that, kind of like how Crown has different levels as well. So I wasn't too happy with the one they had, but everybody else talks about how good that really is. So maybe I don't even know either the bad bottle or the one we had, which is the low end version of it.
Oh, well, it's possible. You might have gotten it. And Canadian whiskey is completely different than American whiskey. So where you guys start with your base of bourbon, Canadian whiskey is basically primarily a rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Right. So, and unlike with bourbon, you cannot add any colorants to or anything like that, or you're not supposed to, at least. In Canada, you can up to a certain percentage, very much like Scotch, which most people don't actually think about when it comes to whiskey. You can. But Canada was the first country to require minimum 3 years of aging for whiskey. So,
yeah, there's what is it? It's a very popular Canadian rye whiskey. And I was watching a video, and they did like 50 different ways to make an old fashioned. And there was that Canadian rye whiskey that actually won it for them. And so I actually went and bought it. I can't remember what it is though. It'll come to me in a little while. But it was funny because I actually made it with that, and it was actually a really good old fashioned. It was probably one of the first times early on, because this was early on when I'm doing like learning about more about old fashioned, trying to see what's out there, seeing what people are doing with it, and it's premium something. I think it's called. I think premium's in the name of it, and that they went through 50 old fashioned. That was their number one. So and it was a good. And when I made it, it was really good.
Oh, it's interesting, right? Because where I live,
Alberta Premium.
Oh, okay, Alberta Premium.
Right. Yeah, but it was the Alberta Premium. I think there's a cast strength version or something like that.
There is, yes.
And holy cow, that did make a hell of an old fashioned. So if you ever if you have that around you, you just try it. I would try it.
I can get it. I'd have to. It'd be 22 hours plus to get a bottle of it if I was to drive to pick one up. But yeah, based on where I live right now, like I'm really far north. If I get any further north, I'd be in Alaska.
Doc, love the beard. You sexy Mexican Viking. It's funny. I sometimes will say I'm sexy Mexi. So that's funny. I saw that on there. So makes me laugh. But no, that's this drink. It just keeps on giving. It's a drink that keeps on giving. I really do enjoy it. I actually need to text my wife to come try this one. She doesn't even like tequila, but I think she'd actually like this one. That red wine on top just does something to it, you know.
It makes for a totally unique flavor, and that sort of hint of dryness, and it cuts it nice too, so you don't get a weird wonky aftertaste like you get with some drinks.
Yeah. So, all right. So, anything you want to say before I have you before I move, go to the next guest?
Well, thanks for having me on, Doc. I much appreciate it. Hello to everybody online. Give Doc a like and a subscribe. Make sure you watch all of his videos.
I would appreciate you. And I before you go, but I'm going to tell you something like a story from you. When I first started doing my videos, it was I had a person reach out to me and it got me into the Discord that we're all on. You know, that we all chat on, right? But when I first early on, you made a drink, and I reached out to you on your thing, and not is you know, because you're a pretty good sized channel, and I had like, you know, two viewers at the time, and I asked you a question, and you responded, and then I asked you another question, you responded again. So you were the first person that actually helped me come up with some ideas for some of my old fashions in the beginning. So I don't know if you remember that, but I've always appreciated you that you took the time to reach out and answer the questions I had online. And so I've always appreciated you for that. So I appreciate you.
No, thank you for reaching out. I do appreciate it.
Yeah. And since then, I mean, you know, we've chatted here and there every once in a while, mostly on Discord and stuff like that. And, you know, you've always been available, and I appreciate that too. So,
you're welcome.
All right. Well, hopefully, I know you said you're going to be busy tonight. Hopefully you get to hang out and come back on when we get everybody back on. So, you know, but if you can, I understand. But if you can, I'd love to have you back.
All right. We'll see what we can do.
All right. You have a good one. Appreciate you.
You too.
All right. Bye. All right. So, this drink, if this is actually something I would recommend you guys go try making right now. I love to get like a Spirit of the Cocktail. Spirit of the Cocktail. Is there a spirit that you don't love? Because you make some crazy drinks too. Tim from Spirit of the Cocktail. If you don't follow him, make sure you go follow him. He has some crazy drinks. He uses some crazy ingredients. I have like this whole shelf of crazy ingredients on the side over here, mostly because of the drinks that he makes. So make sure you go follow Tim from Spirit of the Cocktail. He's a great guy, and I really do appreciate him. Before we go on to our next drink, I do have a special guest coming on. And so this gentleman, he is, his name is Benjamin. He actually has a vodka. And as I bring him on, I have the vodka on the side here that he does make. So we'll let him talk a little bit, but his family's been in the in the spirit business for over 130 years. So it's not like something new, but the vodka is something new. So I won't give away too much with it. I'm going to let him talk about it more, but I'm going to go ahead and bring him on right now. Hey, Benjamin, how we doing, buddy?
Hey, doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, I appreciate you. So I got to meet you the other night at an event. Was it Thursday night? At Total Wine, and introducing your vodka to me, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I asked I was going to do my first. So most of the time I do whiskey lives, and we drink a bunch of whiskey. But I was doing a cocktail live, and I thought it'd be perfect for you to come on and meet some people.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to talk a little bit about my brand, and hopefully, I'm not sure if you have a cocktail plan for it, but really glad that you're able to try it.
Yeah. So I actually have a lot of your stuff on the side here. So I'm going to pull a few of them out and then we can talk about them. So as I'm doing that, talk about your history of how you came up with this idea and what made you decide to kind of start doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, my family's been in the industry for about 130 years in Peru. We've got the leading wine and spirits company over there. And my uncle actually did really well expanding the business. And that really inspired me to go into the spirits industry myself. And so having grown up in the U.S., I really wanted to do an American vodka that really embodied my Hispanic heritage. But growing up here, I was really kind of grew up with the culture of aguas frescas, jarritos, all these classic flavors. And so it really made sense to bring in that culture. And so we made a premium Texas vodka infused with real fruit agua fresca with all the classic flavors of agua fresca, like sandia, jamaica, mango chamoy, which is a little bit different, and more to come, like spicy tamarind is one that we're working on. So
that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So that's that's a little bit about me and how I got into this business.
So right now, I don't know if you're frozen or if you just have a picture up right now because we don't see you moving. So just so you know.
Yeah, not sure. It looks a little frozen on my end too.
Yeah,
but,
we can hear you. I hear you clearly. I think everybody else can hear you pretty good. It just you're frozen. So just letting you know that. All right. So yeah, let's talk about. So what do you think is the most popular flavor?
So I'd say it's really kind of a pretty dead heat between the watermelon and the hibiscus. Really depends that the watermelon is super refreshing. You've got a lot of the watermelon rind kind of taste, and so great for a summer day. The hibiscus is very kind of tart and almost savory, herbal. So people that like hibiscus, and maybe want a little bit more of a kind of a little bit more of a tart drink, like would go for that. So yeah.
Yeah, the other day when we were there, you made a drink with the hibiscus one. What was that drink called again?
We made a paloma, a hibiscus velada paloma.
Yeah, and what was how did you make it? I remember you did what was it, 2 ounces of this?
Yeah, so for all of our cocktails, it's really all about simplicity. Velada de volada means fast or on the fly in Spanish. So we're all about making really amazing cocktails quickly, so you can kind of enjoy the moment and share memories with your friends. So that's what the brand's all about. And so we made some really easy cocktails like the hibiscus paloma. We just squeezed half a grapefruit and half a lime into a glass, 2 ounces of vodka, and some soda water to top it off.
Yeah, I suggest that, the flavor on it is so good. I suggest less of that the water because it just has so much good flavor. Because afterwards, I asked him if he can give me a pour of this just so I could try it again because I wanted to taste that flavor. And there's a lot of flavor that comes through with this, so I really did like that one. I did try this one, and I think the watermelon straight up. I didn't get to try this one straight up, but I did like the flavors that came through on them all the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
So talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you. So it's interesting how he has this bottle design, and then the glasses that they have for this as well is pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. The bottle is inspired by the classic jar where agua fresca is served. It's vitrolero, and so that's also on the label. You can see a little illustration of a vitrolero, and our custom cup is shaped in the same way.
Yeah, and I love the cup. So the cool thing is that day when I was there, I told you I was going to do a live. I bought the bottles while I was there, and you guys were nice enough to donate some of these with some koozies. So actually, after when I get off with you, I'm actually going to start giving these out. So we'll start doing. I like to do races to give away stuff. I like to share products, and so that's what I'm going to do. When we go through this, I'm going to share some of your product with some people out there because you're only available in Texas right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're only available in Texas. We're in 13 stores with Total Wine, but in mid-November we're expanding to all the stores in Texas with Total Wine. So, by for the holiday season, Thanksgiving, anywhere in Texas, you can find the product.
So, yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you're growing, and I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad you're coming out with new flavors. I was thinking about that when I left that day. You hadn't mentioned that day that you're going to do any new flavors, so I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, no, these are. I really did like. I'm not even a Jamaica fan myself, the hibiscus, but this one actually just had just such good flavor to it that I really liked it. So I'm actually thinking about trying to do some old fashions with these and making some old fashions with them as well. So I'm gonna come up with that, and when I do, I'll on Instagram I'll make sure to tag you on that.
Oh, amazing! Thank you so much. And yeah, definitely the hibiscus would be incredible as an old fashioned. I can't believe I haven't done it yet. That was a great idea.
I think I'll try all of them. So like sandia, watermelon is like my favorite flavor. Like I love that fruit, and I tend not to be able to drink it anymore. So it's one of my favorite fruits to try. So
awesome.
Yeah, now you're a black screen. You went completely dark.
Yeah, I don't know. I got full Wi-Fi bars here. Not much I can do.
Yeah, and it looks like you do. It looks like there. Well, it keeps bouncing off and on your Wi-Fi bars I see on my end. So, but no. Is there anything you'd like to tell anybody out here before I move on to our next guest to make a cocktail?
We'd love you to try it. Go to Total Wine, pick up the product, and that's it really.
No, that's cool.
Thank you so much for having me on. I mean, it was really great to meet you in person, and such a cool opportunity to be on the show with all of you.
Yeah, and if you want, I mean, you're welcome to hang out with us at the end here. We'll talk more about it. Maybe you could actually do something like a cocktail challenge with this. I think that's always a fun way to get your product out there and get people going. I mean, like earlier I had Gnome, and he's won many cocktail contests, so he'd be a good one to play with your product and see what he can come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. We should do a cocktail challenge. Challenge accepted.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Hopefully you hang out. We'll get you back on in a little while, okay?
Thanks so much, Doc.
I appreciate you.
Bye.
So no kidding. I really did like the product. That's the reason I wanted to bring them on. I'm a Texas boy. He's a Texas they sell out of Texas, and I think it's something kind of different and just interesting. So what we'll do is we'll bring Bonnie on as we're talking with her. We'll start giving away bottles. The first we'll give away. There's one of each flavor. We'll give away 3 bottles tonight. So as we do that, whoever wins first gets to choose the first bottle. Whoever wins second gets to choose the next flavor, and then third will be with what we have left over. The cool thing is you'll also get one of these cups with the koozie, but I'm not, the koozie's cool, but the cup I think is actually the fun part. I really, really, really like these cups. I think they're really cool. So, well, thank you, HOB. Thank you for the super chat. No super chat. I'm not really pushing anything for super chat tonight, but I do appreciate it. So thank you. I do thank you. So let me go ahead and get Bonnie on here. Let's get her on here. So, because I have an empty glass and it's time for another drink. Hey, Bonnie, how are you doing today?
Oh, hi, Doug. Thanks for having me.
So let me move these to the side real quick. Because if not, I will break them.
Oh, yeah, I think you have a similar problem to me where I have like bottles in the floor, and if I walk the wrong way, it's a disaster.
So, Bonnie, what we're gonna do is we'll make the drinks. I have an empty glass, and I think it's time to make a drink, and then we'll talk a little bit about you and your channel. Okay? Does that sound work for you?
Sounds good. And yeah,
look at Gnome's making fun of you. Bonnie dressed fancy for tonight. I love it. You wore tux.
Sorry, I make you feel underdressed. I mean, I just gotta look good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I like it. Let me see. Let me put up yours really quickly. So you're doing a Oaxaca Old Fashioned. We're just talking about Mexican old fashions and stuff like that. So hold on.
Yeah, so that's a really good segue. And like speaking of an empty glass, like the empty glass I'm using is the one you gave me.
Oh yeah, I like that. I see that you get to use it all the time, which makes me happy.
It is really like my favorite glass. It's like the perfect size for a lot of things, especially old fashions. So I was like, oh, perfect.
And it's perfect because it has a bullet in the side as well.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Since it has the bullet in the side, sometimes I build my old fashioned like right in the glass, but it's kind of hard to stir it because the bullet like kind of stops the motion of the stirring. So today I'll build it in my mixing glass and like pour it in.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll talk a little bit about how you got that glass in a second because you just brought back those memories. I forgot all about that. So this is the Oaxaca Old Fashioned she's making. It's going to require some tequila, but this one's not a Blanco. It's a Reposado. It's also going to require some Mezcal and some bitters and agave nectar and some orange peel. So let me move that off to the side. Let me get my ingredients up. So are we making this directly in the glass or are we doing it in a mixing glass?
I'm gonna make it in the mixing glass, but if you want to make it in your glass that you're gonna drink from, that's fine too. I'm gonna go ahead. I've got a skull ice, a big skull ice that I'm gonna put in ahead of time.
All right, so let me get my mixing glass out. Do you have ice in your mixing glass yet, or are we doing that afterwards?
Oh, I'll do that at the end.
All right. So what are we starting with?
So the first thing I'm going to put in is 1.5 ounces of my Reposado tequila. And I'm using tequila Ocho because this is like an amazing tequila. And in case you're unfamiliar with the aging of tequila, a Blanco is obviously not aged at all. And a Reposado is aged between, I think, like 2 months. Between 2 and 12 months. And this one, I love that it's called Tequila Ocho. They age it for 8 weeks and 8 days.
Nice.
So it's barely got any color to it, but it's got kind of like a straw color almost. Yeah,
it's very very light.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of tequilas, but I do have some. So
I've actually made this drink with añejos before, and it's good with that too. But I was like, I'll go by the book for this one. And this Tequila Ocho Reposado is probably my favorite tequila right now. So when you were asking us what we wanted to make, I'm like, I know what that drink tastes like, but I better make one just to test it.
Well, I mean, you can't. You got to test your product, right?
Yeah. And then I'm going to put 1/2 ounce of mezcal. And this drink was actually invented by Phil Ward as a way to kind of ease people into mezcal. And like in 2007, like right after it was invented, it kind of like mezcal did start like selling a lot better in the US. So I'm just putting 1/2 ounce, and I'm using Del Maguey Vida.
It's interesting. When I was in Europe, not this summer, the summer before, mezcal and tequila are probably their highest selling products that you're talking about. It's like their largest sections when you're like, their whiskey section is small, but their mezcal and tequila section were huge.
And then I'm going to just add a couple dashes of Angostura Bitters. So 1, 2, and since Gnome was on here, 1 more.
I agree. You got to add that extra for Gnome,
And then I'm just going to do a bar spoon of agave nectar.
I know what I forgot. I forgot my flame so I can smoke this thing.
Oh.
Let me see if my wife can bring that for me. Let me see.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to add some ice to my shaker.
My wife said that I don't have I usually have somebody in the background here helping me, or my daughter will help me sometimes, and both of them are not available. Like I didn't have both of them today. So she said she'd keep her phone on for me in case I forget, because I'm notorious for forgetting ingredients. When I'm filming, my wife's making fun of me that I'm running out of the room because I forgot an ingredient. Like, so this is number 2.
I always have to stop when I'm filming like a not live video. I always forget stuff, and I'm like, oh, big deal. I'm like, oh, I really have to remember because I can't just like stop. And speaking of smoking it, you don't have to smoke it. The original recipe like smoked the orange peel that they put in it. But I wanted to use this for Halloween, so
I love that. I've never seen a skull smoker before. That's super cool. And it's funny because, you know, I sent you a picture of one popped up on my screen after we had talked about it. And you're like,
Yeah,
they're always listening. They're always listening, you know? Somebody said definitely throw some celery bitters in the sipper. That's interesting. I don't use celery bitters enough, that's for sure.
I'll pour that in, and now for the fun part. So I've got my Skull cocktail smoker, and it came with like 4 different kinds of wood. It's got apple, hickory, cherry, and oak. And I've been using the oak on these because the tequila Ocho is aged in they're oak barrels that were used for whiskey. So I don't know. I just thought it kind of fit for this, but I would probably be good with using any of these in it. Do you get yours, Doc?
No, my wife's working on it right now, so she's bringing that to me.
Cool.
But you can smoke yours as we're doing that, and you know I can finish mine up as we're talking here too. So
Cool.
And the cool thing about these smokers is they don't require a lot of smoke. I'm using the cherry. That's what I had available to me today. I know you said you had kind of other ones, but you decided to go with an oak because you wanted that more of that oaky flavor. Because what did you have that was finished in? Well, you said you had something
so the
finished.
tequila Ocho. It's aged in X whiskey barrels, American oak whiskey barrels. It's like, oh, Old Fashioned Ways has a lot of like whiskey people in his audience. So I thought you guys would appreciate that. So this skull, it comes with this little thing you can just put with the wood chips. I might put like a couple more in.
It's funny, all my eyes are starting to stick together here.
Oh yeah, like the last time I made a video with the ice spheres, they were all stuck together. So I started wrapping them in saran wrap just to like stop that from happening. Oh, and I also forgot. I'm gonna put the orange peel in it, and like I said, the original drink they just like ignited the orange peel, but I'm just gonna do this. And I know, like, I'm gonna take Gnome's advice
and rub it around the bottom, huh?
Bartender trick and do the outside too.
I like his idea on that. You know.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I've got my wood chips in my skull, and I've got a little butane torch that came with one of my other smokers. And if you just go straight down from the top, it kind of forces it down into the glass. And this doesn't come with anything to put on the top, so I just put like a coaster on it. So it'll kind of keep the smoke in there. You could bring it to someone like this if you wanted. But
I always have trouble starting my smoker, so let's see if I can get this to go.
Yeah, let's see how yours is.
See. Let me see.
But even if you don't get it to work, the mezcal has a nice like smoky flavor anyway. And that's one reason I always use my cocktail smoker that just uses wood for this drink. But I also have, and I'll get it out while you're doing that. This is a flavor blaster. So if you have a drink where like the wood smoke doesn't like really go with the theme of the drink and you want something fruitier, this is more like for drinks almost. And it's got like orange cartridges, ginger. You can make like bubbles and stuff with it. Kind of a gimmick, but kind of fun.
Yeah, I've seen some videos where you use that, and it's a lot of fun that you use it. And you're trying to get to not pop while you're putting it on the top of the drink was always fun to watch you do. Yeah,
they make it look so easy. Like on the website where you buy them, I'm like, I don't know if I'm just not good at using it, or it's just they make it look easier than it really is. But it's fun.
And somebody saying that's a cool smoker. It is pretty cool. I like your smoker. I did this completely wrong. My glass is too small. I changed it because on this one the rim was too big, and it's hitting the ice, so it's not sealing it as well. And I like when it seals it because you see that with the cold, it pulls that smoke in really well. You know. So. Cool.
Well, it'll still taste good.
Oh yeah, and like you said, it's already a smoky drink because of the mezcal in there, so it does make it nice and smoky.
Yeah.
It does smell good though.
Mm-hmm. What kind of tequila did you put in yours?
So I used Corazon single barrel reposado, but it's also done in Blanton barrels, so it's finished in some
Oh,
Blanton.
cool.
I did that. I don't have a lot of tequilas. I'm not a tequila drinker, but I got a whole bunch of these one time that are finished in different barrels, bourbon barrels, and I figured why not? Why not use that tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about the tequila Ocho. It's like a single estate, so it has like batch numbers, just like a lot of the bourbons do. So you can like look it up and know exactly where it came from, like how it was aged. But yeah, I highly recommend this tequila. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna go look for it. I've actually heard about it. I just never, as I said, I'm not a big tequila drinker, so I've not tried it. The only tequila, there's two tequilas that I do keep on hand. What is it, 1943? But it's because I didn't realize they added vanilla to that to make it sweeter. So I guess that's probably why I like it.
Yeah.
And then the other one I don't know if you've ever tried the Matthew McConaughey Pantalones.
I haven't. I'd
So
actually like to.
their añejo one. For some reason I like that one. They were giving samples of it there. I was like, no, I don't like that kind of thing. But I do like it.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Like if you're more of like a whiskey guy, that you would like the añejos because some of them like they have so much of like the like wood and vanilla flavor. It almost puts you in the mind of a whiskey.
No,
Where
and
the
that is
Blancos
super
and
true.
Repos, you're getting more of that like agave taste.
No, and it's true. I did a tequila tasting just because I wanted to learn more about it. Right, I wanted to figure out like okay, and when they were tasting those añejos, that flavor from the wood from the barrels that they're aging, it does come out a lot more, and it does remind you of a whiskey or like a bourbon. So you do get some of those sweeter flavors. I do like those better. So if I'm going to drink one, definitely that's usually what I'm going to pick up. No, but it's a good drink. This is one of the few drinks I've ever made an old fashioned with tequila before, and this was one of the first ones I ever did. And when I first tried it, I was a little scared to try it, and then I really did like it, and I like how a little mezcal can go a long way,
Yeah.
And so I even have it in a little sprayer, so I can actually sometimes I'm going to try that
cool.
with a few drinks and just put a spray in there. Because have you ever done that with absinthe? A little spray of absinthe can actually change the evolution of the drink. And so I thought mezcal has kind of that overpowering flavor. I think it can do the same thing as well. So
yeah, and it's just like just a little bit you can smell like really makes a difference.
yeah, it does. You just smell that on there, and it's such it's a nice hint of that smoke without overpowering your palate, and it just makes. I think it makes a very good drink. He says, "I stay away from Spirit of the Cocktail Tim. I stay away from celebrity spirits. Most of the time, I do. I've had to do Beyonce just because it was so popular right now, and I'd stay away from that one if I were you. But there's another one I haven't put out yet, and it's actually the gentleman from Yellowstone. That one is actually a good pour. I was really surprised with that one. I liked his so."
So I heard the Beyonce one was like pretty good, but it's just like MGP rye. So it's like you can get something similar for probably $30 instead of 90. So other than the bottle being cool, why?
Yeah, the bottle looks like a perfume bottle. It's 80. I want to say it's 86 proof. It's very, very, very low proof. It does have some flavors for that, but it has a weird taste to it for those flavors. I think it's finished, if I remember, in cognac, if I remember correctly, which adds another layer of flavor as well. But what I buy, I wouldn't buy another bottle of it. Not for me.
Yeah, there's like certain things I would buy just because of my channel, because people want to know what they're like. But just as a regular person, I would not buy them. It's like, yeah, I'll pay the $90 just to like be able to talk about it. But
yeah. But let's talk about let's talk about your channel a little bit. Tell us how you started and how you got into this.
So I started my channel back in 2021. I had the idea like during the pandemic, like a lot of us probably did. But
definitely a lot of us did at that time.
Yeah, and it took me a while to get up the nerve to actually do it. So my original idea, which I still do sometimes, is I go to like 3 different bars and get the same drink and kind of compare them.
Yeah.
And
That's the name, one drink, 3 bars,
yeah,
right?
that's how I got the name. And I don't do that as much anymore. So I've actually thought of changing the name, but I don't know. I still kind of like the name.
Well, it's definitely a
But
different name. I like the name. It's
yeah,
different, you know.
yeah. And I was like, I just noticed like people were actually watching the videos I make at home, just making drinks more than the long episodes. So I don't know. I've just kind of gravitated more toward these. But yeah, like vlogging out in public is a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm kind of a socially anxious person, so I've got to work up the nerve to go out there and like film in public and like ask people to be in my videos. So, kind of doing this at home is an easy button. But yeah, so I started mainly because I wanted to get better at speaking and video editing, and I've always liked making drinks. So I'm like, well, this is a pretty productive hobby. And I never thought I would really like get anywhere with it, which as far as monetization, I've gotten nowhere. It's kind of a money pit, but it's been really cool because I've met a lot of cool people like you through this, and like just being on that Discord is fun. And I've even met Gnome in person. We went down to New Orleans and hung out with him. So it's just kind of like an awesome way to make friends like all around.
Oh yeah, the community. So I'm blessed that I'm in two communities. I'm in the cocktail community. I'm also in the whiskey community, and both communities are great with a lot of great people. You get to meet a lot of fun people and just talk common interest and it's neat because you meet people from not just all over the U.S. but all over the world, really.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. Like I want to go hang out with Gnome. I haven't had the chance to go do that. I used to go to New Orleans every year for Easter. But after the pandemic, I haven't been able to do that. So,
yeah. Well, maybe we could do like a whole like YouTube bartenders meetup down there. I've thought about that a few times. Like, oh, if we could get like a big group together, I would be in on that for sure.
Yeah, I would too. So hold on, I have to respond to this because Tim said he's gonna go buy Kirkland bottles and sign them. I buy that, sir. I would buy that. I definitely. And also, Iceman actually, when I met Gnome too, he was on his way. And him and Sparkles got to go meet Gnome, and I heard Sparkles had a pretty good time with some of Gnome's drinks. So.
Oh, so did I. Oh, and speaking of Kirkland spirits, so we have Costco here in Tennessee, but they are not allowed to sell spirits. They can only sell beer and wine. So I have to hear about all these Kirkland things that are like, oh, it's just as good as the name brand. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't know because they have such weird rules here. It's like we can walk into liquor stores and buy cannabis products, but we can't walk in Costco and buy a bottle of tequila. It's just crazy.
Well, and see, I'm the opposite. I can't buy any cannabis. It's not legal in Texas. So no cannabis products here that I know of. So but I can go buy Kirkland's, So hey,
yeah,
yeah. And you're like in Texas, you can't buy hard liquor on Sundays. How about you?
It used to be like that here too, and I remember how exciting it was when we got Sunday sales. It seemed like exciting to get to go to a liquor store on Sunday.
Yeah. It's funny. Look at because Sparkles had such a good time. She slept all the way from New Orleans to San Antonio because of Gnome's Tavern. So yeah, Sparkle's definitely the rock star. Iceman just hides behind her, and he's the face, but she's really the rock star. He's like the bodyguard.
Yeah, and he's the one like he's making all our drinks, but she's the one like probably asking him to make all our drinks.
Well, so if you ever get a Sparkle approved drink, that means you did something right.
Yeah.
Because she is very particular about her drinks and will let him know whether she likes them or not. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But thank you for this drink. I really appreciate it. I like it. I haven't had one of these in a while. I think I made this. I want to say it was actually a Cinco de Mayo drink I made my first year doing this. So in 2022 is I think the last time I made one of these.
Cool. Yeah. When did you start your channel?
My channel started February 22nd of 2022.
So yours, it's slightly newer. So I looked back. Mine started in the summer right before that. So yeah, I kind of remember. I feel like we started at about the same time.
Yeah, and it's that Discord like that we're on that just all the cocktail channels. I love that Discord because there's so many great people in there, and like you, like I do appreciate you in there because there's been when I was first starting. Well, a lot of us don't know what we're doing, right? Especially when you first start. And there's one in there that like check out my channel. Like it says, so you when I asked somebody to look at my channel, you actually were one of the first ones to go look at my channel and give me feedback on what I needed, like what you thought about it, and with very good constructive criticism, like the good parts and the bad that you thought I needed to improve on. So I do remember you being the first one to do that for me. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I don't remember what I said, but sometimes, yeah, I feel like when you ask for feedback, it's like really nice if everyone's like, oh, it's wonderful, but it doesn't really like help any. So I think of like feedback like that as a gift. So if somebody asks, I try to provide it to them too.
Yeah, no, and I think so too. And I'm always, my goal has always been, how do I improve? How do I get better? How do I, get better at what I do? But at the same time, how do I entertain while doing that? So the funny thing is, my wife says I do it like a lot of times I do stuff to entertain myself and hope that it entertains others.
Yep,
So like when I do a live, a lot of times I'll go, like I usually do my lives on Friday. So usually Saturday morning, I'll put my live back on. I'll rewatch it to see what I did. And, especially like this last one, we had quite a good amount of pours. So I need to go back and look at it. Right. And if I'll make myself laugh, and my wife will be like, she just shakes her head at me, looking at me like, you think you're so funny. I'm like, well, I entertain myself at least. So hopefully I entertain others in the same process, Well, we still don't know what we are doing, Doc. What do you mean you still don't know what you're doing? I'm confused. That's bad. Not to be Dad's actually, he works with me, but he's also, if you ever watch my whiskey lives, he's my monkey in the background. He helps me run a lot of my show. He helps me run like stuff like that. Which, what? I forgot. We need to give away a bottle. So before you go off, let's give away a bottle. So the person who wins for this bottle will get the choice of the first bottle they get to do. So we're gonna do a race before I bring on Rob. So the way, I don't know if you've ever watched my lives where we do races. So I think Iceman's in the background here. Iceman, yeah, he's here. Iceman, I know. Hopefully, help me run this race for me. So we're gonna do hashtag. Let me get the bottle here so I spell it right. But hashtag volada. So I'm gonna put that in there so you guys know. And this is a chance to win a bottle of this. Oops. Let me make sure I spelled that right myself. Volada. It looks like it. All right. So anybody wants a chance to win one of the bottles, and they're really cool bottles. I really like the shape of them. I don't know if you've ever had agua fresca before, but they come in these big barrels that look kind of like this, so it's kind of cool. Spirit of the cocktail. I'm still basically clueless. No, I like your stuff, Tim. You do good stuff, man. It's always fun watching you. So I do appreciate you, and your drinks are just so like he uses some of the most interesting and weirdest ingredients. Tim. I have a shelf of odd like Sonar and stuff like that I wouldn't never use anywhere. A lot of Amaros. He likes the Amaros, that's for sure.
And like he has some of the best like tasting notes and descriptions I've seen on YouTube.
So let me make sure that I see Matt in the background. So I'm pretty sure he's helping me. Let me just make sure. If not, I need to start typing. So the cool thing is what we do is we do these hashtags. People who put the hashtags in, we run it for just a few minutes. And then we do a race. And then on that race, thank you, Iceman. I appreciate you. So on that race, the winner gets to choose, will get to choose their bottle that they get to take, that I will hand deliver to them, and they get to try for themselves. The cool thing is, it's a bottle that's you can only find in Texas. So if you're not in Texas, it's something you can't get, something new. And I meant to do that before we started talking about your channel. So that was in the background, but I completely forgot, which is I'm very well known for. So nothing new. So is there any other Halloween drinks? Like, do you have any Halloween drink videos coming out?
So I actually have a whole playlist of Halloween drinks. About 3 weeks ago, because I had so many Halloween drinks last year that were doing well this year, I'm like, I'm going to do a Halloween drink every week between now and Halloween. So I think I've already done 3 this year. And then I'm going to do 1 more next week. And then probably start doing like Thanksgiving or Christmas stuff. But I'll drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you do.
A black margarita. I've done just like some glittery drinks. I had these like really cool skull hand glasses.
That's one thing about you. I've always commented on your videos about your glasses. You always have really cool glasses.
Yeah.
So Iceman has this ready to go. So we're gonna run this first race here. So here we go. We have 24 watching. How many people we have in there, Iceman? Look at that. He's a professional at this. He hasn't done this in a while, but he's doing this. Hey, Nati Vida, look at this. Look at this, how a professional does it, Nati. So look at that. Perfect. Look, he chose monsters for this one as well. So as the race is running, we always run it for 222. 222 is my birthday. 22 is my favorite number. That's why I started on February 22nd of 22, because I figured if I'm ever going to start, that's the day I start my YouTube channel. So let me see. Spirit of the Cocktail. My first video, I was totally nervous. Yeah, if you go back and look at my first video, it was pretty terrible. There's a lot of me just trying to get used to being in front of a camera, because that's actually pretty hard to do, is be in front of a camera and talk. The other thing was, my kids said that none of my personality came out of my first video. I was in a different room, a lot smaller room, and I was sitting at that time. So I think sometimes when you sit, you don't tend to get a lot of what you're, what you do coming across as well. So I think it's pretty interesting as you evolve and as you get a little bit more comfortable, you're able to do a little bit more things as well. Now, darn, Bourbon, and sorry you're a little bit late, but we got about a minute left on this race. After this race, we'll bring Rob on. We have another drink, and then for the last part of it, we'll bring everybody on just to kind of chat and talk a little bit more. So,
but yeah, Doc, I totally identify with you on the whole, like, being awkward on camera. I'm still extremely awkward on camera, but I looked back at, like, some of my old videos still get a lot of views, so I went back to watch them, and I could barely watch them. I was just cringing so hard at them. I'm like, I can't believe I would publish that, but I'm not taking it down if people are watching it.
Yeah, and
if they're just making fun of me or something.
It's funny because I've never sorry, we just passed the 22-second mark. It's funny because I've not watched my old videos in a long time, and Iceman went back one day and decided to start watching all my old videos. I apologized to him early on before he even started. So look at Iceman Can't Cook is winning. Look at that. He comes from behind a win. Iceman Can't Cook. Good job, Iceman. Let me document this here. When you're the one running the race, it's got to be #rigged. Hashtag rigged. It's only the first one, Iceman. I'm not doing first and last. Normally when I do races, I do first and last. I give away first place and last place. I give away samples of everything I drink for the night. Unfortunately, I don't have that many bottles to do. So Iceman Can't Cook, you won the bottle. Just reach out to me. So on the top of my comment section, if you look, there's a form to fill out. I know, Iceman, you don't have to do it, but anybody that ever wins, do fill out that form. It's how I'm able to get these to you. But congratulations, Iceman. Just let me know. Just text me later which bottle you want, so we know which one you want. All right, Bonnie, is there anything you want to say before I bring on Rob and start him?
Nothing other than thanks for having me. I had fun and appreciate being included.
Well, no, I appreciate you coming on with me. It's always fun to do these things. And it's my first cocktail live. I've never done a cocktail live. Rob is the man at the cocktail lives. He does them all the time with Bino and them. So him and Dave do them all the time. So I'm pretty excited that this is going pretty well. I think it's going pretty smooth for my first one. But I appreciate you coming on with me and hanging out with me. Hopefully you get to hang on at the end. I'm going to bring Rob on. I'm going to try to bring everybody on at the end.
Yeah, and I also feel inspired because, like, I had to work up nerve to even start a channel. I'm currently trying to work up nerve to do my own live. So this helps to get to see how yours works.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, your first live is your scariest. And after that, you just learn from them and you keep going. One thing I'm going to tell you this, no matter what, a live is not a live without some sort of incident. I still have audio problems. My screen will freeze on me. I've been kicked off my live a few times. So things like that happen. And know what? They understand. I understand. I just go with the flow and just keep moving because that's the way to go. It's just one of those things, you know?
Yeah, and just take another step. If there's an incident, just ease the nerves.
It does, and everybody's there to have fun with you, right? And they know we're not professionals at this, and we know we have the equipment we have, and you're going to have faultiness. So most people understand that, and they have fun. They have fun. So just do that. Just have fun with it, and when you do it, let me know. I'll be there to watch you. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So I'm gonna have you on the side for a second. I'm gonna bring Rob on. Okay. Go. All right. We'll see you in a second. That was fun. This drink, I haven't had this since 2022. I do like the Mezcal. I need to do more drinks with Mezcal for sure. So, Rob, my man, Rob, how we doing, sir?
We're doing
I
good.
love your
How about
decoration
you?
there. I love your decoration, and you always have Star Wars shirts on like me. So I think you might be as big of a Star Wars fan as I am.
Rocking the Star Wars shirts all the time. All right. Yeah, loving the life so far. These drinks are great. Hey, Tim,
are you making the drinks too?
No, I haven't been making the drinks. Oh God, I'd be out already. And I work tomorrow, so 4 drinks in, not a good thing.
I work tomorrow too, and I've been sipping on these a little too much. I need to slow down on them, but they're
back
good.
To some of the first lives I did with Vino and Dave, and we went some of those first ones. We went a little too heavy. Where we'd be live for 4 hours and make about like 6-7 drinks, just out by the end of it.
But normally, like this last live went 3 hours and 40 minutes. I normally don't go that long. I usually go about 2 hours is what I try to stay to. But the person I'm always in a rush because there's a person another whiskey YouTuber that goes on after me. So I'm like the warm up and they're the finish. And so I'm always respect their time because we all try to help each other. I mean, like same thing in our community, right? We promote each other, we cross promote, we help, we do all that. Same thing in the whiskey community. So I never want to go over on my time to interfere with his. Well, he wasn't on this week, and so I slowed mine down, and we had, I want to say it was 8 pours that night, and I give away 2 samples of every pour that I do. Plus, on this last one, when I do super chat, I was actually giving away another sample of everything I drank that night to the super chat. But we drank George T. Stagg. We drank the Cowboy Bourbon. We drank that 33-year-old rye. I mean, we had some crazy pours at the end. That was a great time, man. It was a great time. So I'm going to show your drink here on the screen for a second if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so there's actually nothing kind of fancy, but this one, it's basically a standard old fashioned. We're calling it the Graveyard Old Fashioned. Basically, what we're doing is we're adding a little bit of activated charcoal at the end to make it black, so that it just has that Halloween vibe to it. I'm also it wasn't on the card that I sent you, but I decided we're going to smoke it as well at the end. So you do have your smoking. You're smoking top on, right? Because I figured it's a Graveyard Old Fashioned. We got to add some smoke to it.
That does make sense. That does make sense.
For sure. Now, being Canadian, I was going to go with Lot 40 Dark Oak. This is my favorite Canadian whiskey.
So I was going to ask you on that, though. Real quick question, your rye. Right? You're going with the rye. I have 100 proof out. Should I get a stronger proof, or is 100 proof good enough?
This one here is it's 48%, so 100 proof is probably fine. But you were talking about the Alberta Premium cask strength, so I don't know if you want to whip that one out and we can make it with that instead.
I don't know where it's at. If I could, I would, but I don't even know where that's at right now.
Because like I said, I got this one. I had mentioned it in the chat earlier when it came up. I mean, it's a fine rye, but for what the price was, I think I paid like 68 or 70 Canadian for it, which I know that's probably like $5 American. But
No.
like I find this is just absurdly overpriced. It's not bad. It's just overpriced.
I think I paid I want to say 80 American dollars for it if I remember correctly.
Wow,
This is a while back, but yeah, because it's just not it's all premium until you twist off the top.
That's right. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I keep it when I do it. Like it's not like as you can see, I've had this for several years and I've barely even cracked the top. I keep it for whenever I need a high proof whiskey in a cocktail. Whatever. This is definitely not something I'm sipping on.
Yeah, no, it's a good proofer though. I did enjoy that old fashioned made with it. I need to go back to it because this was really early on in my journey as well. So I mean, my palate has changed completely since then.
Yeah, this one here, this is one of my favorite local Canadian whiskeys. It's from Last Straw Distillery, which is near me. It's an where are they? I think they're in Vaughan, Ontario. But they make a corn whiskey. So and this is cast strength as well. It's a cast strength Canadian corn whiskey, and it is fantastic.
Man, I need to take a venture
corn whiskeys.
Yeah, I need to take a venture out to Canada and pick up some of these bottles here. And
Canada has some great whiskeys, but most people don't know about them because when you think Canadian whiskey, especially from an outsider, when you think Canadian whiskey, that you think was a Crown and Canadian Club, which is they're not bad, but they're just they're bottom shelf.
Yeah, they're what's like they're out there. They're large, so that's why they're known.
Exactly. It's all marketing, right?
But no, what I'm gonna tell you something that was funny. I did have one of the Crown Royals, one of their higher ones. It was actually not a bad pour. I was laughing when I got it.
Products, yeah.
It was a good pour. I was like, oh wait, I like this. I got it because it was just in the flight, but it was good. I actually enjoyed it. So I kind of laughed because I was like mocking it. And it was the last one I tasted because I was like, that's going to be the one I like the least. And it was actually the one I liked the most that day. So kind of funny.
And I mean, and there's a lot of like, people think of Canadian whiskey as primarily rye, which it is. But there's also a lot of, just like people think of American whiskey as being bourbon. But, there's a lot of other styles of whiskey as well. And Canada makes some great, like I said, some corn whiskey, also makes some great single malts. There's a variety of Canadian single malts that are quite good.
So I'm trying to open my palate to malts. I am not a single malt guy yet, but I do have a few out there. I actually went and did a pick with Stranahan's, and they do malt whiskeys with a buddy of mine. It wasn't for my pick, but it was theirs, and that actually should be coming out pretty soon. So maybe that's something I'll send you a sample of. If I can get that when I get that.
Cool.
All right. So how you want to make this drink? Is it in a mixing glass, or are we doing?
You can make it. You can make it directly in a glass. I'm going to do it in a mixing glass because I'm going to be serving it in this skull glass.
Okay.
But
it's hard to stir in that, huh?
I can't stir in this thing, so so it's going to go in the mixing. So yeah, we're doing the 2-ounce pour of a rye whiskey. So I am going to use the Lot 40 Dark.
I have seen that around here, so I haven't tried it though.
Yeah, Lot 40 is around. I know. Like Steve, the bartender, I think they sent him a bottle. I don't know, but he did like a special episode on a lot. But he had the standard Lot 40. This one is it's double aged in charred casks, so that's why it's called dark oak. And then I'm a huge fan of any whiskey, any rum, anything that is double matured and especially in charred casks and things like that. I'm a sucker for that. All right, and I was totally going to do a sugar cube, but I poured the whiskey first because I'm not paying attention. So we're just going to do a syrup pour. If I can find.
And I was going to cheat and do a syrup pour as well. So what do you think? Are we doing a spoonful, quarter ounce, half ounce? What are we doing on this?
It is a bar spoon of. I'm using Demerara. I like the.
I love Demerara simple syrup.
Yeah, it's got a richer flavor for sure.
Mine's a 1:1 ratio.
Tango.
Mine's a 1:1 ratio. What is yours on the?
For Demerara, I tend to go 2-1, and for simple, I stick to 1:1, and it's simple, right? And then, so I did some Angostura Bitters. I'm also going to do these maple walnut bitters. This is from a local distillery here as well.
Yeah, I don't have that. So I have black walnuts and chicory pecan. What do you think I should use?
Hey, that'll black walnut probably. But so these are, I mean, you got the walnut flavor and you got just a hint of maple. It's really quite nice.
Yeah, I saw that on there. I was like, did he mean maple? I haven't seen that one yet. And I love buying every single possible bitters I can find. So.
All right. Commence. Stir.
No, it's not going to work with that one. Sometimes it's just easier.
Was saying he got
what was that?
40 dark. Buffalo Bourbon enthusiast said you got the Lot 40 Dark on her recommendations. Yeah, it's a really, really good whiskey.
It must be one that he's sent me, so I got to try it then if I have it there. It's because I'm blessed that I get a lot of samples, and what I've been doing is like actually doing a list of them and who sent them to me. And what I would like to do is on Wednesday do like a blind with them, you know. What I'm trying to do is get my palate to start tasting things better, and the only way to do that is with blind. You know, you start doing blinds and you can taste things a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
all right. So I've got this.
Let me get a lighter real quick.
Yeah.
I just realized I have a lighter back here because the lighter I tried wasn't working.
Oh my God, I totally forgot the charcoal.
Well, it's because charcoal is one of those things you don't normally put in a drink, you know?
I know, right? I'm going to pour it back in. We'll give that another try. Give it another quick stir. Oh my God.
Know what's so funny about that? I forgot I pulled this glass out to do your drinking, and I completely forgot to use this glass. So, I mean, see, that's what happens at the end of the night, you know?
So let's see how this works here. So I got about a quarter, I'm not measuring, but like a quarter teaspoon. You don't need much. And then you mix that in, and look at that. That color is just getting like pitch black.
So I did last year I did a drink with it as well, but I only could find these capsules, and they're such a pain in the butt to actually separate.
I bought this, it was on Amazon. I bought this just little thing of activated charcoal. It said it's food grade, so I'm hoping.
Well, know what? It's gonna purify your gut anyway, so that's a good thing, you know. Nothing wrong with that.
So it's looking pretty nice in the skull here. So for that, I'm just gonna go for a classic garnish here.
Are you doing orange?
Orange peel. I like to fancy my orange peels. I got these like little those crisscross scissors.
Oh yeah, I saw that in some of your videos. Like he's so fancy.
It just gives it a nice decorative edge. And people are like, ooh, fancy. And I figured also I've got these, I don't usually go with a cherry because I just don't eat them that much, but I've got these skull cherry picks, cocktail picks. So
oh yeah,
go with a couple cherries in there.
And we're still smoking this thing?
Yeah, so I'm going to use I've got a smoking gun here.
Oh yeah, fancy. You're so fancy.
We got the cloche we put on top here, and then hopefully I don't set off any fire alarms because everyone's sleeping here.
Yeah, look at that. Much better. You can see the way it's pulling that smoke in there. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right.
Man, where do you store that big glass and not worry about breaking it? That's what I want to know.
I've got quite a bit of counter space here in the bar. Man, I really do hope I don't set off an alarm. All right, so here's what's fun about the reveal here. Then you lift up this and whoosh, and you get this nice smoke effect. All right, and there it is. Still see some smoke on top, looking good. Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh.
Those first few sips after smoking a cocktail are really nice, but it dissipates so fast. Like it's mainly for show.
It is. I've seen it where they actually smoke the water and then freeze the ice cube. And I think that would add more smoke to it. I've seen where where you like people do double where they smoke the glass before they ever put it in there, then they smoke it afterwards. I think that would probably.
I've seen like just use like a wood plank and you kind of burn the plank and then just put the glass down.
Yeah,
and then I haven't tried that personally. I don't feel like as though by the time you make the drink, because you have to chill the glass and then you make the drink and you pour it in. Like by the time you do all that, I think most of that has dissipated. I remember the first time I had a smoked drink was at a local bar here in Ottawa. It's at a fancy hotel here, the Chateau Laurier here in Ottawa, and they have a drink that's basically an old fashioned, slightly different, and they bring it to you in this big container. So they smoke the inside and they bring this giant thing right to your table and they open a little door and all the smoke comes out and you reach in and grab your drink. It's pretty epic.
It sounds actually pretty good. You know what though? It's the smoke on the nose is still there. Like it hits there still. Like Bonnie's drink with the mezcal, or I'm a fan of adding a little bit of an Islay Scotch on top of an old fashioned. I've made an old fashioned with pure Islay Scotch. It's too overpowering. But just doing like a little like quarter ounce float, or either float it at the end or mix it with the drink. But just that gives it just a little hint of smoke. That is good. Yeah. Have you ever had Stag Junior?
No.
So a buddy of mine came up with the idea of mixing Stag with a Scotch, right? And it's just a little bit of Scotch with that Stag, and that higher proof bourbon with that smokiness of the Scotch just hits right. It just hits right for some weird reason. So we called it.
I'm a huge fan of, like I said, my favorite whiskey is Islay Scotch. I've got a massive collection of Islay right here.
Yeah,
and so I love smoky drinks, and it's funny because like a lot of people will comment whenever I make a cocktail with some Islay. I always get that comment of like, "Why would you waste such a good bottle in a cocktail?" And it's like, you're missing out if if you're being so anal about how to enjoy something. You're missing out because there's so many ways to do it. I love it neat, but it's also amazing in a cocktail.
And that's 100% true. Good ingredients make a good cocktail. So you can make a better cocktail by better ingredients as well. So I always agree with that. And I always say you need to drink a cocktail the way you enjoy it.
Sorry, give me a second there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
No problem. Yeah, I always think, if, enjoy the cocktail the way you like it. If you enjoy it, and if you enjoy the cocktail, then do it that way. Then drink it the way you like. But, in the past, old fashions were made to improve on a bad whiskey. Yeah. But now, I always look, okay, how can I make this a better drink? How can I make this how can I highlight the flavors that are coming through with it? So. Iceman said he thought your smoke alarm went off and you were in trouble.
No, you would have heard something. You heard kids crying and wife screaming and all sorts of bad stuff.
Yeah, and where's your dog at? You haven't seen your dog in the video in a while.
Yeah, I used to feature him. He's around. He's sleeping. But I used to feature him in the videos thinking that would kind of give me an edge. But, it wasn't working, so I just kind of stopped doing that. That's the thing about YouTube, right? You have to find a good balance between what you want, the content you want to make, and the content that is actually bringing in the views, right? Yeah. So it's finding that balance because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then why are you doing this? So you got to do stuff that you enjoy, but at the same time, if you want your channel to grow, you have to listen to the audience. So it's finding that balance.
Yeah, and it's interesting with that too. Like you said, that like I was talking about earlier, I do a lot of things to kind of just entertain myself, and my wife laughs at me because that's my purpose. Because if not, it just becomes another job, And there are some weeks where I feel like, holy cow, I still need to edit, I still need to do that, and it can be draining. But then I go back and say, you know what, I'm doing this for me because I want to enjoy it. So whether my edit's perfect or not, I'm just going to put it out there. And I've learned to sometimes not take that extra 10 minutes on the edit, just put it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with every YouTuber goes through that moment of like, why am I doing this, and should I keep doing this? Is it worth it, or all that stuff? So again, the biggest thing I said is if you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it. If it's like you said, another job. If you just made yourself another job, then you shouldn't be doing it. Yeah,
and that's what that's kind of how I got onto the whiskey side of it. I started as old fashions, and that's what I really enjoyed. And as I started drinking more and more whiskeys to try to figure out their profiles and what I enjoyed about them, kind of got me onto the whiskey side, because I never intended to do reviews. And the only reason I started doing reviews is because as you go through things, you make connections, you meet people, and you're able to get things sometimes, right? And I got tired of watching reviews where they get these amazing bourbons or whiskeys, and they talk about them, how great they are, and then you never get to try them. So my thing was like, well, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm only going to review bottle if I can get a bottle of it, not a sample of it, and that way I can share it with somebody as well. So I share everything I get.
That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. Yeah, I've kind of tried to. It's funny, like I've obviously my channel's primarily been cocktails and like homemade stuff, homemade liqueurs and syrups.
Your liqueurs are amazing, though. You make some good ones.
You.
I've made a few of them, and they're amazing.
It started absolutely out of necessity because the selection in Canada is not great. And the first one I ever made was allspice liqueur, and there was a cocktail I wanted to try. It was the Lion's Tail, which is bourbon, allspice, lime juice, and. Yeah. It's funny because I didn't even like the cocktail finally, but I really wanted to try it, and I could not find allspice dram. I could not order it from anywhere that would ship to Ontario. And then finally I looked it up and was like, hey, it turns out it's not that hard to make. You get a bunch of allspice berries, which you can get from most grocery stores, and then you infuse it with some sugar, some rum, a cinnamon stick, and you let it sit on the counter for 2 weeks. There you got yourself some allspice dram. And from there, I was just like, okay, well, and that video did very well. And it was like, well, what else can I make? Around Christmas time, it's become kind of a Christmas tradition. Last year, I made it into a live stream, but one of the first years I made I was watching Steve the Barman. I'm familiar with him, not Steve the Bartender, but Steve the Barman.
Oh, okay, no.
From the UK. He's from the UK, and he would make these Advocat drinks. So Advocat is like UK's version of eggnog.
Okay,
it's a Dutch liqueur that is eggs and brandy, and it kind of tastes like eggnog. But it's basically like alcoholic custard, basically. And then their main drink with it is called the Snowball, which is basically just Advocat and Sprite. And sometimes you can add a little bourbon or a little sherry or something. And it's really refreshing because it's because of the Sprite is lighter than eggnog. Yeah, so it doesn't feel as like heavy. So I was able to get a bottle of Advocat from my local store, and I made it, and it was like. That Christmas, it was like my drink. Like that's all I was drinking. But I ran through that bottle in like a week. Then I'm like, then I couldn't find it anymore. So once again, I was like, okay, can I make this? And then I looked it up. It's like, it's not that hard to make. And then I made a video out of it, and that video's done very well for me. And and every year now it's been like the tradition of making Advocat every Christmas. Yeah,
I saw. Hold on, I'm gonna do something real quick, and we'll come back to that. I can give away another bottle real quick because we're at the time. But hashtag Fresca. Put that hashtag Fresca for the second bottle. We're gonna go ahead and give that away as well. But yeah, I saw your. It was I want to say it was last year where you did the 1 year where you did you made the. What is it called? The eggnog.
Oh, yeah, the eggnog. The aged eggnog.
The aged eggnog. And I remember your face when you looked at it. You're like, I could tell you were so worried about drinking that.
But then you were like, it wasn't that bad. I still have it, and this year I'm going to do the 2-year-old eggnog.
You're seriously going to do that?
Yeah, I've kept it. There's so much booze in there that I'm not worried.
It is. There's a lot of booze because I saw you make it. I saw when you went back. I went back and watched the video of you making it, and there is a lot of booze in there. So.
It's eggs. I mean, it's eggs, sugar, cream, and then there's brandy, bourbon, and Jamaican rum.
It's the egg that worries you. I know that's because that's what would worry me.
The egg and the dairy, right? So two things that typically spoil. But apparently, because of the amount of sugar and alcohol in there, and as long as you keep it refrigerated, it shouldn't spoil and it should last forever. So I've been told. So I kept like the original batch. I still have about maybe like 300 mil of it. So I figure we'll taste it. We did the 1 year versus, but if you remember that video, I preferred the fresh stuff because what happens is the bourbon, the booze, it kind of blends together. Like you can't really tell the bourbon apart from the brandy, from the rum as much after a year. But the booze is still there. It's the rest, the kind of the cream and the eggs, that flavor kind of just like melds away, and so I didn't quite like it. It was all just kind of blended together and not quite as interesting after a year. Whereas the fresh stuff, you still want to age it. Like don't make it and drink it right away.
Yeah. You want to let it blend a little bit.
Yeah, if anyone's going to make that recipe, that aged eggnog, make it in November, and then by December it'll be amazing. Yeah. So at least age it for a couple weeks to a month, but then you can still kind of taste you can taste the bourbon, the rum, the brandy. They're still all there, and you can taste the eggs and the dairy. So everything it's a very nice eggnog. But after a year, it wasn't inedible, but it wasn't very good.
I'm going to put on the races we're talking here. That way they can start that. So go ahead and go and run that race.
That little, that's a pretty cool little thing.
Yeah, there's different ones. I mean, there's like there's horses, there's rabbits, there's monsters, there's toys. There's the original one's the duck races, and so we just do these.
This is very appropriate for Halloween, anyways.
I'm in the lift. I'm talking to the driver about Bourbon Tube, and the stream is making me thirsty. It's always good to get thirsty with this. I'm gonna bring on one. She's the only one on here. I have both David and Gnome had to get off.
I want that deleted.
So Bonnie, you're black on here right now. Let's see. I'm putting you back on here.
You probably turn your camera off.
Yeah. So if you want to put your camera back on, you're on there. There you are. So we're running this race. We're gonna do one more race. We'll talk for a little while, and we'll be coming to an end here. It's 9 o'clock. I know most of us work tomorrow. I know I work tomorrow. But man, I'm gonna tell you, all the drinks tonight have been great. I've enjoyed all of them. A little too much. I was not planning to drink all of them all the way, and I pretty much finished all of them.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna make them all, but that's awesome.
That's why I wanted to know what the recipes were. I wanted to try them all with you guys and see what you guys came up with, and just something different, It's always nice to see what you guys can come up with, and it's always interesting to see what other people come up with as well.
Oh, if Iceman wins again, it's totally rigged.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, a lot of times these people are in the front, right, and then at the end, somebody from behind comes back. It's always what happens, right? So that's probably what you're going to see.
Oh yeah. Cheat to win. There you go.
Yeah, it's funny. We always talk about it. Hashtag rigged. It's funny. A lot of the same people win all the time. I just think they have good luck. There's got to be good luck. My dad used to say if it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. So there's luck both ways, I guess.
That's right. I wonder why. I would love to see kind of the algorithm of what makes these guys tick.
Here we are, last 4 seconds. So we're down to the 4-second mark here. 2 seconds. 1. Let's see who's come from behind. Natividad wins. He wins a bourbon. He's he's my employee. He's also my monkey in the background that always helps me. Iceman's helping me tonight, but he's just doing it here in house. So his payment is usually that he gets to have pours with me as well. And I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking bad stuff. I'm drinking just some good stuff here. So always good to have that. So. Natividad, we'll talk tomorrow. Iceman gets to choose his first. You get the second pick at this. So we have one more race to run. So I'm gonna put a hashtag. Is there a hashtag you guys like? Anything that you can think of?
Let's do I don't know, hashtag Halloween or something like that.
Perfect. Hashtag Halloween, guys. Hashtag Halloween for the last bottle. So you'll get you get whatever the first two don't choose. But hey, it's something you can only get in Texas. So if you're out of Texas, it's something you can't get yet, and that's always fun. So have you ever had agua frescas? Have you guys tried that yet?
The drink, or just like specifically the alcohol version?
No, just the like if you go to a Mexican restaurant, they always have those big pictures of it. The big. So
is it just like a flavored sweet flavored water kind of thing?
No, it's a vodka that has those flavors from agua fresca. So they have a hibiscus, the sangria.
The agua fresca itself is just like a flavored,
It's like lemonade, right? But with a different like a flavor of that whatever is going on there as well.
Okay.
So I think
these vodkas they're sweet, right? They do have a sweetness to them. Okay.
Yeah, there's some sweetness to them. I mean, you can still taste the vodka in them, but they have that sweetness and that flavor in them. When we did try them that night, they did have them watered down a little bit, and I wanted to try each one as they are so I can actually get that flavor as well. So I did put in the studio.
That's good because those like flavored. I'm not a big fan of vodka, but flavored vodkas definitely have their place because they're adding a flavor to it, and so anywhere where you could use a flavored liqueur like that, you can use a flavored vodka.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's pretty interesting because I haven't seen I've seen other like flavors, but I've never seen like these agua fresca flavors. So I think that's pretty neat and pretty different.
And they do sound good. I hate the ones that have just like the ridiculous flavors. Like we've got. A friend of mine had a birthday cake vodka, and I'm just like, what the hell is that?
I actually have a small bottle of birthday cake as well, and I did that just because So I did put in the link in there if anybody wants to join for the last few minutes here that we're on. We have one more race to run. We'll talk for a few more minutes and kind of go through that. Bonnie's on there. I see her there. I love her it clown that's in front of her there. That's just so freaking cute. It makes me laugh.
I once had like an online art kind of debate over what is birthday cake flavor, and what we apparently the consensus was because it's not just vanilla. There's something. It's like it's vanilla. People are like it's vanilla and sprinkles, but what is sprinkles? Sprinkles is just sugar. So
100%. And I've never, in the last at least 20 years, if not longer, I've not had a birthday cake that is vanilla. It's not my flavor. It's not my flavor. So it's not something I've had. So it's interesting that's the flavor of it.
So apparently, what it is it's primarily vanilla, but with a hint of almond, and that is what they consider birthday cake.
That's interesting because I do like Italian cake. It's almond,
Yeah,
I do like that. I think wedding cake is almond as well.
So if you wanted to kind of recreate that birthday cake flavor, then you would just do a vanilla liqueur, like a liqueur 43, and then just do like a dash of Di Serono, and that'll give you that almond flavor.
Well, that Di Serono has a nice almond flavor. That is true. That is very true. It's a good. There's a lot of interesting flavors out there, and so I just tend not to just stick to those too much anymore. But that this Serono, I don't drink that anymore. I've learned that, so I do not. So as a Texan, it's funny. I don't like Dr. Pepper at all. Dr. Pepper was invented in Texas. I do not like Dr. Pepper, and if you put enough of that in there, it tastes like Dr. Pepper to me.
Oh, if you put enough Di Serono in something.
Yeah, they have like they have Crown and Sprite. I mean, Di Serono. Like what is that? They put it in 7-Up. They'll put it in Coke, and if you put enough of it in there, it tastes like it's Dr. Pepper in there for me.
I don't mind Dr. Pepper, but it's a flavor I get tired of easily. So I'll have it occasionally, but I can't buy a case of it because I'll just be like, "Wow!" After like the second one, I'm done.
DQ ice cream is where it's at. So I haven't had an ice cream cake in a while. I want to say it was probably 7 years ago. 22 seconds left. 7 years ago. So I like Doctor. Doc doesn't like Doctor. That's too funny. I used to like to get it from like what's that popular ice cream place? It's Marble Slab or something like that, right? And
we got one of those.
and they had ice cream cake. Well, my wife used to get the strawberry with a chocolate like ganache on top of it, right? And the
one
thing
drink, three
about that,
bars.
hey, you won!
Bonnie
Winner,
wins.
chicken dinner!
It's
Woo, woo,
totally
woo.
rigged.
It is totally rigged if that's the case, you know. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
So
it was
you
almost
get
like,
the-
should I eat dinner? No, I kind of want to enter,
Yeah, you-
so I did.
you get the last bottle one. And what happened was they made the cake so bad that my wife returned it. Right. So the funny thing is, I was at work thinking about that cake. I can't wait to get home and have a slice of that cake. I can't wait to get home and have a slice of that cake. Well, I get home and I can't find it, and my wife says, "Well, I returned it." I was like, "Okay, so where's the new one?" Well, they gave her money back. She didn't get a new one, and that was the last time I ever had that cake. So
Where's the new
I have
one?
not had an ice cream cake since.
Oh, that's funny. No, I've actually had a few recently because I've got two boys, 6 and 9, so they go to a lot of birthday parties, and they're still at the age where I kind of tag along. So I always get offered a cake, and it's like, all right, sure, won't say no to cake.
I'll be so the kind of cool thing. So I have my own clinic, right? And the kind of cool thing about my clinic is patients tend, like when they appreciate you, they tend to bring you food. We tend to get a lot of sweetbread, and we tend to get a lot of cakes. So it is pretty nice. I can't complain about that. So anybody, you can ask Nati. Anytime anybody gets hired with us, they gain weight in the first few months because we always have food at our clinic because people are always dropping off food, which I love. I don't complain about that. It just shows that you're doing a good job because they appreciate you enough to take the time to go cook something or bring something to you. And two, I'm diabetic and I like sweet bread. I have to watch how much I eat, but I always love that they bring it to me. So it's a fun time.
It makes me think of that Seinfeld episode where at Elaine's work, where she's saying like every day, because they always have a cake party for someone, either like someone's birthday or someone's retiring or someone's been sick or whatever. And so there's like every day there's a cake party somewhere in the office.
I forgot about that episode. I love that. Seinfeld was so good. There's not been anything like that again.
I bought the whole series, and every couple of years I'll rewatch it, and it's
that's so funny. So you bought it on DVD?
I bought it twice actually. So I bought it on DVD originally. My wife got it for me for Christmas on DVD years ago, and then recently with streaming and everything, I just, it's like, putting in those DVDs is a lot of work. So I bought it again on just Apple TV, so I'm able to just kind of click and play whenever I want it.
That's so funny. My wife had never watched Seinfeld, and I want to say about a year and a half ago, she decided that she's going to watch all the way through. I just warned her about the last episode, right? I warned her about the last episode, and when she finished watching, she was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "It was the last."
Have you watched the finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I like the finale.
Of which one?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, my wife's actually watching that one right now.
They fixed it. They fixed the Seinfeld ending. They fixed the Seinfeld ending with the finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I'm just gonna go skip to that and watch that now. But Bonnie,
it's amazing.
Bonnie, you like the Seinfeld ending?
You kind of have to watch the whole final season because it's a prolonged. It's a story that kind of lasts the whole season, but in the finale, because the show, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, follows Larry David, who was the creator of Seinfeld. And so they kind of parallel the finale of Seinfeld in that last episode, and Jerry's in it, and they fix it. They fix the ending, and it's hilarious. It's really well done. So they say it's basically like a joke that has a punchline 30 years later.
That's pretty funny because Bonnie, you're the first person I ever hear that liked the ending.
Yeah, because it's like fitting. It wasn't like a happy, fuzzy show. And to end it the way they did, it was just like really fitting.
Well, to me,
I feel like. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I liked it in the sense that like it was a good. I liked seeing all the old characters and that it was fun to bring back all the funny characters. It's just to me the fact that they were found guilty and went to jail. That's what I didn't like, because it was a show about nothing. And then like something happened. They should have not went to jail. They should have got off on a technicality and then went back home. And we're just like, we've learned nothing from this. Like, that would have been the better ending. Like they learned nothing. They're just going to keep being the a-holes they've been their whole lives.
Yeah, and it's funny because as I watched all those years, I never even thought about how, like, when they start breaking down how a-holes they were, you're like, they were kind of a-holes. I never realized that until that ending, you know?
Oh yeah, they didn't care about anything. Like they were so indifferent to other people.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Every time I tell anyone, I'm like, I identify with Larry David. I totally get him. People are like, well, you must be like a jerk. Yeah, I guess. Sorry.
I think he's just different and thinks differently and doesn't mind stating his opinion. So, I mean, I think that's who he is, and that's how he's fine that way, you know?
There's actually, I think it's a season. So Curb Your Enthusiasm has been going on for a long time, and like he took like a 4-year break, and then he like rebooted the series basically. But there was, I think it was season 7 where they did in the show they were doing a like reboot of Seinfeld. So the whole season has Kramer, Elaine, and Jerry, George, and they're filming new episodes of Seinfeld. It's pretty great.
I've definitely. So, do I need to watch the last season of Seinfeld to see that season, or do I need to watch the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm to watch that?
Well, to see the finale of Curb, like the last season of Curb is where you're going to see the ending of Seinfeld come together. But if you want to see those other like Seinfeld episodes, I think it's season 7. I'm not sure,
okay.
But it's an older season.
I did see an interview, and Seinfeld said he would have done Seinfeld's the one that cut it out and stopped doing it because they did 1.5 seasons without Larry, right?
Yeah.
And he said if Larry would have stayed on, he would have gone more. But because Larry left, he felt like it wasn't going the way he wanted it to go anymore. So he gave Larry a lot of credit for that, and that's why he stopped.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
why he stopped.
absolutely.
Because he stopped in the height of it, you know, which I think is pretty.
He also didn't, and as Iceman's pointing out, he was offered like $110 million for another season. He also didn't want to go like you go too far and things start to. I mean, look at The Simpsons. You know, I haven't watched. Hey, it's Vino.
Hey,
Vino.
what's up, folks?
How's it going, Vino?
What's going on, guys?
How's it going, buddy?
Wanted to sneak in on here before you guys shut.
Yeah, I'm glad you travel safely. Your travels were good and everything.
Yeah, man, it's all good. I'm exhausted though. And I could use a drink.
Do it.
We'll make a drink as we're finishing up here and have a drink with us. You know, we have Bonnie still on, and
it's fitting to make it old fashioned.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's funny because I don't have my setup. I'm using my iPhone. I've never done this on my iPhone before. This is it. Just my iPhone.
Yeah, it's a small screen. Eh?
Yeah,
you can barely see me in there.
Oh, I see a beer. That's good enough.
That's all you need to see.
Yeah. What am I drinking tonight? Who's on the chat? My man Iceman around? Yeah,
Iceman's in there. He's look. He just put your link in there, Coach Vino.
Right,
Iceman's been ringing the night.
Tim's back in the house. Nice.
Yeah, Tim's in the house too, and you know he's moving, so that's why you haven't seen much of him lately. He's
I know,
moving.
Yeah, and we all know how when you move, how hard that is, you know.
Yeah, I did that last year.
Yeah, that's why you have this nice, beautiful setup now. Your move.
Yeah, it was. We moved, and part of like obviously when you move, right, you have like things. You have wants. You know, we need or if you have needs, you have wants, right? We needed more bedrooms because for the kids, and then you like wants. You're like, okay, we want a pool, and I wanted some sort of bar set up, and we hit the jackpot. We had this house had a nice the basement had a kitchenette, so it's got a sink, and the previous owners had it set up as like a little kitchenette dining area. But yeah, I was like, I could totally change that into a bar, and that's what I did, and I loved.
Yeah, you had all those shelves, and I like your setup. I like your new setup.
Yeah, it was. It was most. I spent most of last year working on it, and then around Christmas last year, around this time last year, it kind of all came together, and yeah.
So out of curiosity, did you lose viewers because we don't see your feet as much anymore?
I have gotten a few people were like, oh, I liked it. It wasn't the feet, but it was the like. I have like a secret foot fetish crowd audience.
Yeah, that they were watching you. You had all these views from that.
So yeah, it was that. But a lot of people do miss the POV style shots because I used to shoot with the GoPro. I had two. So I had two angles before. I had the GoPro and the side angle. Now I've got the front angle, and I still have the side angle. So I still try to give up that dual view with the close-ups, the side angle giving a close-up. I have gotten comments from people wanting me to do the GoPro POV. The problem with that is well, when I do the front view, I'd have a stupid-looking camera on my face. Yeah. Secondly, because of my lighting setup, because you do see my face, if I had a GoPro angle, you'd have this big, like, bright, shining light right in the shot. So I did play around with it, and it just doesn't work. So it's unfortunate, but I had to cut out the POV.
So did you guys do? You guys did like Halloween-y themed cocktails, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did a black old fashioned in a skull mug.
That's what I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, I got something I like to make called the In Cold Blood.
Ooh,
nice.
What you got there?
Yeah, I'll make that for you right now. It's 1 ounce of rye. I'm using Old Forester. I don't know where the camera's at. Right?
I might make that with you.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a Manhattan riff. 1 ounce of old rye. I mean, of a rye.
1 ounce of rye.
So I'm using Old Forester there.
Yeah, I'm not making any more drinks tonight. I'm done.
You got too many already?
Your doc's cut off.
1 ounce of sweet vermouth. Rob, you already know what I'm using. Capano.
Yeah. I'm using Koki.
All right. And then
this is what I got open.
An ounce of one of my favorite liquids on the planet, Chinar.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got that.
An ounce
If I
of
can find
Chinar.
I like this ounce.
Yeah, it's easy peasy.
Ounce, right?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Is that it?
Lemon squeezy. That's it.
I'm gonna do orange squeezy because I don't have a lemon.
All right. Stir.
Look at that beautiful stirring.
Yeah, a little B-roll. How about
Yeah,
that?
you got like a little professional right there. Look at Rob throwing ice everywhere.
Did you catch that?
Yeah. And I saw Bonnie made another drink. Bonnie, what drink did you make, Bonnie?
Yeah, Rob, you don't give a full stir, brother.
Oh, I skinned a blood orange to make my old fashioned, so I used the juice to make a margarita.
Oh, nice. I like that. So you made a margarita with the juice.
Yeah, so usually I just eat the orange for breakfast the next day, but I'm like, oh, since you joined, I'll make another one.
I like that.
Let's do a sexy pour, Rob. Sexy pour.
I've already done my sexy pour.
Oh no, I didn't see.
Okay, let's see the sexy pour here.
This is the fun part of using the iPhone like this. Like I do a sexy pour, ready?
Let's see sexy pour here. Let's see what a sexy pour looks like.
All right. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Ooh,
It's
nice sexy pour there.
It's not just the visuals; it's the moaning while you do it.
Yeah. And what I'm worried about, I don't think he has pants on.
I don't have pants on. I just got home. I just took everything off.
Too funny. All right. I like this.
There you go. All right. Cheers.
What did you call
I
this?
wish I could have been here earlier, but Doc decided to change the date of the live.
What did you call this one? You know?
Was that?
What'd you call this one?
Oh, this is called In Cold Blood.
In Cold Blood. All right.
Yeah,
Cheers.
my little lime expression there. Lemon. I'm sorry, this is lemon. Cheers to you all.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, folks.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. This is how I like it. I'm converting Rob to sweet vermouth.
He really is. I was never a big fan of sweet vermouth. Manhattan's not really my thing. But oh my God! So, since doing this YouTube, I was into cocktails, long before I did this YouTube thing. But since meeting all these guys and really getting me into the sweet vermouth.
I don't do enough drinks with sweet vermouth because not usually in an old fashioned, but I definitely when I do make one, they're nice. I do enjoy them.
Hey Doc, I was up.
Oh, we got Andrews here.
So Doc, I was up in Cooperstown.
Cheers,
and I did a little baseball bourbon.
Oh, nice! I like it.
Yeah, it's a little baseball. It's the Cooperstown Distillery. It's actually not a bad bourbon. I mean, I'm no bourbon snob like you, but I mean, it's pretty good.
I wouldn't call myself a snob, but yeah.
Hey Doc, did I ever show you this? I picked this up when I was on vacation this summer. It's from this Wright and Taylor Distillers. It's a vintage bottle.
Oh, that's sweet.
Now, yeah,
no, that's nice.
It's from Kentucky. I forget how old. I think it's really old. It's one of the first bourbon distilleries.
No, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean,
nice little keepsake.
Yeah, it's nice when you find those vintage things, or I like them when they have bourbon in them. There's like they're called Dusties, and if you've ever had a Dusty, holy cow! Like bourbon that was made that many years ago is just so much. Sometimes just has so much more flavor than bourbon that's made now. It's just crazy,
Well, my Midori is Dusty. Does that count?
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Do we talk about this recently? Like, what is your dustiest bottle?
Yeah. What is my dustiest?
Mine is definitely Hypnotic.
Yeah, no.
Oh my goodness, Hypnotic.
I bought Hypnotic to make. We went to a restaurant and my wife ordered their house sangria, and she loved it. So I looked at the ingredients, and it was everything a bunch of stuff I had that I could make. But the one ingredient I didn't have was Hypnotic. So I bought a bottle. I made it a couple times for her. She kind of forgot about it, and now it just sits there. And I've never made anything else with it.
Well, make her drink again.
The only bottle I've bought, and I haven't opened, and I bought it a long time ago, is this Palma. It's super dusty.
What is that? A pomegranate? Is that pomegranate? Yeah,
pomegranate liqueur. I just haven't.
It's grenadine liqueur then.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't thought about what to make with it.
I would say anything with grenadine, and you just swap that.
But I forget it's up there because it's a small bottle.
Yeah,
but
that's the brilliant thing about. It's a brilliant thing about liqueurs that people don't realize is that you can swap pretty much anything that says ginger syrup. Ginger liqueur is much more shelf stable than the syrup, and you can swap it.
Yeah,
I got allergies now from that bottle.
Hey,
Bonnie, what are you saying, Bonnie? What's up?
So I went on the Palma website because I was thinking of doing a video about what do you do with this stuff, and all the recipes sounded really bad. So I was thinking of doing a video where I make their version and then fix it.
That's actually
I could just tell them
that's probably good. That would be a good video because
both do one because I was like, yeah, that sounds like good ingredients, but I don't like their recipe. I don't even have to make it. I just know.
A lot of times though, these producers, they hire real bartenders to put together their sample drinks. So if it's something that's not balanced or whatever, that's pretty sad.
Oh, have you ever seen the Malibu website?
No, Malibu's an exception.
It's like they just make lesser versions of other drinks.
Well, a lot of people do that too. A lot of brands will just do a riff on something using their stuff.
It's like I'm sure on the website they've got the Malibu pina colada, and it's like, no thanks, I'll just make the regular pina colada.
I got a massive bottle of Malibu that my sister-in-law bought me. What am I going to say? No.
And it's like, hi, I'm over here making pina coladas with Smith and Cross.
Exactly, right? or making peanut verdes with green chartreuse.
But it's interesting, like how much your palate changes from when you first started, going to bars and having it with Malibu, and now it's something on your shelf that you don't use.
I still appreciate Malibu for what it is. I mean, it's fun to kick it around and kick it while, but it's still fun in beach cocktails. If you're in a resort and they make you a Malibu cocktail, you're gonna drink it and you're gonna love it.
Have you seen that video that went viral a couple years ago, where it was these young girl influencers? They're on a beach and they're putting together this like big tipsy bartender style like jungle juice thing, but they're putting a whole bunch of like fruit juices and stuff, and then they put a whole bottle of Malibu, and they're like, oh my god, and all the comments are like, yeah, that thing is like 7% alcohol.
Yeah, and like all sugar.
Yeah. Hey Andrew,
no alcohol.
Andrew, that underdog cocktail, I just made that for Instagram, I think. It's a really good cocktail.
I mean, Drambuie is legit though, so I would think anything from their website.
What's cool about the cocktail. Some people like it, some people don't. I mean, it depends who you are, but it's the dealer's choice Amaro.
Oh, interesting.
For me, I it could be a little annoying because like Amaros is so vast.
Yeah.
But then it's like, all right, then I guess I got a experimentation here. You know what I mean? That's what we do.
In my head, whenever it's kind of like dealer's choice Amaro, like where they don't specify which Amaro, I usually think they're probably using a Verna. That seems to be the more like basic,
or like Montenegro,
Verna. Those two will be like, they're still pretty different, but
they're different, but they're both common.
They're very common, and they're not gonna like. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint a specific flavor in a Verna or Montenegro necessarily, whereas in other like Chinar or Zucca or Fernet, of course, is like probably the most.
Man, I feel like the citrus. I feel like the citrus in Montenegro comes through. You'd pick that up. I'm sure you pick it up. If
it's been a while.
If you had it right now, you'd pick up that You'd pick that up real fast.
Yeah, see, I don't drink enough of that to say I could pick that out because they're not using old fashioned
cocktails with. I think it's a crime to use more cocktails with Zucca.
Try more cocktails, Doc.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like that's
I know you're doing old fashions for the gimmick and whatnot, but do you ever want to kind of spread out, like move away from that?
Yes. That's why I watch you guys' channel. I like some of the stuff that you guys do. Yeah, that's why you guys are here today. I like what you guys do, and so I'll play with that. And so a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll look at what you guys do, and then I'll try to make a riff of an old fashioned off of it.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but when I can, I like that. And so a lot of times I'll go make your drink, taste your drink for what it is, and say, okay, how can I come close to this, but make it an old fashioned style?
Do you have a pretty significant collection of non whiskey stuff that you can make stuff?
Yes, thanks to pretty much you and Tim. Have the weirdest selection of crap that I have.
Don't blame me on camera. This is evidence.
Yeah, but you and Tim. I mean, I have like a bunch of stuff on a shelf on the side over there that is not whiskey because of it.
All right, here's the quiz. Do you have green chartreuse and Benedictine?
Ask him, Rob.
Yes,
green chartreuse and Benedictine.
Yes, and yes.
Nice.
Rob, are you nuts, Rob? That's not the question.
I have Cynar. I have Cynar 70. I have, what is that?
Cynar 70. Oh
my God. What is that? How do you call SUZE? Is that Susie or Suisse or how do you say that?
Oh, Suze.
Suze.
Suze
is
delicious. You bought Suze. That's a.
Yeah. Here we go. Iceman. Do you have Smith and Cross?
That's the question. Exactly.
Smith and Cross is not sold here. I don't have that one. That's one I do.
Really?
I don't see it in my area. I've never seen it in my area. So
I would love for you to try that, especially because you're a bourbon guy and you're a whiskey guy, and it's
such a punchy, amazing.
I have so many. I should send you a sample. Send me.
I would love it.
I would send you one.
I have a feeling Doc would love Smith and Cross.
Yeah,
I think so too. You guys talk about it so much. I've looked for it, and when you order stuff and you have to pay $15 to $20 for shipping, I'm like, screw that.
Yeah, you know what it is too, Doc, because your palate, you're learning how to decipher things with your palate better. So when you try Smith and Cross, it's gonna be a flavor bomb.
I always
Like, I'm gonna show you my shelf real quick, just so you can see it. I'm gonna switch
Hey, Doc,
over
hold
here.
on 1 second. I'll be right back. I got to put the ice back. I don't want it to melt. Hold on.
All right.
I
wait till it comes back.
I always said Smith and Cross to me is like the Isla Scotch of the rum world. Not because of it's smoky, it's not, but it's that kind of far removed in terms of flavor. Like, you know, like when you first have an Isla Scotch, if you're any kind of whiskey drinker, you first have an Isla Scotch and you're like, oh my God, like that's so intense. Whether you like it or not, it's very intense. Smith and Cross it's not comparable in flavor, but it's comparable in experience. That is compared to other rums. When you first try it, like, wow, that is intense.
Yeah,
it's earthy. It's got like a banana. It's got this weird funkiness. That's just amazing.
Talking about it makes me.
Yeah, you're making my mouth water. Let me show you my shelf of stuff that you guys have gotten me to buy. So ignore the mess here, right? But that's my shelf there, and you can see there's the Sonar, there's the Seuss, there's other mixers up there. But this is all the stuff because if there's a Doritos. Hey, you see that Doritos one right there? Don't buy that.
That's a Bonnie brand right there, man.
Don't buy that.
Bonnie
You sent me a sample of the Doritos, and I haven't gotten around to using it yet because A, I was like, oh, maybe we could do a video together, and B, I was just like, I want to do it justice.
So that's I have that whole shelf of stuff because you guys recommend it, like drinks that you guys made that I've gone and bought it just to make at least one drink with it. So
it's like I feel like I would have spent like $80 to $100 on the Doritos, knowing it's not good, but I really just wanted to taste it. So I still have your sample that you sent, and I haven't even opened it.
So I'm going to tell you this: if you want to make a Doritos liqueur, get a good vodka that doesn't have any flavor, like a good, that's been made well, and soak Doritos in it overnight. I have a video. I haven't put it out. I've had it for like a few months, but I haven't put it out yet. It tastes so much better than the crap that I bought, and you can do it for so much cheaper at home because you can buy a good $15 vodka, put Doritos in it overnight, and make it, and it tastes exactly like Doritos, unlike that. I did it with Doritos, I did it with Ranch, and I did it with Cheetos. And so I have Old Fashions coming out with Cheetos, Doritos, and Doritos Ranch.
That's hysterical.
So I have so I do tastings for Broken Shed Vodka, and they had an awesome rebate where you could get like $20 off of 2 bottles, and they only cost $20. So I would buy like sometimes 4 bottles at a time, because they're so cheap, and I got an incentive for it. So between my kickback and the rebate, they were practically free. So I have like 4 or 5 sitting right here waiting to have some Doritos put in them.
You definitely need to do that because
so all these you had some giveaways tonight with the flavored vodka, and then we're talking about a Doritos vodka. At what point does a vodka stop being a vodka and becomes a liqueur?
I don't know. I mean, does a liqueur have sugar in it though?
Well, it's the sugar, Rob. It's the sugar. You know that.
Yeah.
But a lot of these flavored vodkas are sweetened.
Down to like a lower proof, maybe. But I don't know. Some liqueurs are like Cointreau is 40% or more.
It might, there might not be any real regulation then, Rob, with regards to that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a regulation thing because a lot of them are just.
I don't have any flavored vodka, so I can't even tell you what the ABV is on these. What's the ABV on some of these vodkas? Do you have anybody have a flavored vodka?
I don't carry much.
Bonnie, do you have any flavored vodka, Bonnie?
I know what I do. I do have a stupid birthday one.
I'm curious to see what the ABV is on those.
So I have the Fruity Pebbles vodka, and this is still 40%. But
yeah, because I think it's just essence, a flavor essence. I don't think it's actually.
I did a video on this, and I actually said I like this one because other flavored vodkas are less. Like a lot of them are like 30 or 35%. Let me
somebody put in there. I don't think anybody's policing vodka, which vodka is a very neutral spirit. It's a neutral spirit, and I think it's one of those things that if you find a good, really like a neutral one, I use a Texas one that they have because it's so neutral that when I put stuff in it, I don't taste the vodka. I taste whatever I put in it, whatever I infuse in it.
And that's what vodka's for, really. I mean, I know there's some vodka purists out there like you can really taste it, but the whole point of vodka is you can't taste it.
Exactly.
You know, so, but to me, I obviously keep vodka on hand for the odd cocktail that calls for it, but also to make a lot of my infusions. You know, because
I think the better flavored vodkas are probably close to 40 ABV. You know, because one of the things about vodka when I was in the industry, the flavored vodka soda was huge with women and people on diets because they didn't have any sugar in it and stuff. And so I think most of them are probably 35 and above, if not 40.
Yeah,
because I made an episode recently where
sorry, go ahead.
This is only 35%. How can they even call this whiskey? Like I just bought this to make a video with, but I'm like, really? This is a 90% whiskey based liqueur.
90% of Crown Royal's clientele is not Canadian.
I believe
Canadians do not like Crown Royal.
I believe that. So
really,
wasn't it Carl? Vida, I don't know if you remember. Wasn't it Carl that told us once that he'd have like when he was bartending, he'd have people say like, "Oh, I don't drink whiskey," and they're like, "Well, what do you drink?" Crown Royal.
Well, I mean, they're technically not wrong, right? I mean, is that really whiskey?
Exactly. It's just I don't know. I hate to speak badly about like a Canadian company, but I just find like it's a bad representation of Canadian whiskey because we offer so much better.
What's like when you make Rob? You know when you make a recipe with coconut rum, you always have to be careful to say not Malibu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Use a quality coconut rum.
Yeah.
Which you have a nice homemade coconut rum that's pretty good too.
Yeah, I have a whole.
Andrew says like Foster's for Australians. I've never had a Foster's beer, but I remember those commercials. It was like beer, Foster's Australian for beer.
Yeah.
So I'm shaking his head right now.
I have a funny story about the Foster's thing, right? When I going to college, Foster's always came in the bigger can, and it was I enjoyed it through college. So I'm not going to say I did not, but the funny thing is, I was when we did a tour, and one like an Italian tour, and you meet people from all over the world, right? And we met some Australians there, so we were talking about it. And I was telling them, they're saying like, we don't drink Foster's in Australia because it's our crap beer. I was like, really? I drank it through college, So what do you drink? And they're like, we drink, Corona. They're like, we drink Corona. I was like, that's our crap beer. So we said, you are crap beer. I drink your crap beer. And we're pretty even then, But it made me laugh because they thought Corona was actually a good beer. And, I was making fun of them.
Budweiser is the best-selling beer in the world.
Yeah, and it's shit. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't drink it.
And the big joke in Canada has always been the like American beer is crap, and I believed it until I went down to my uncle owned a timeshare in South Carolina, and we went to like this local craft brewery and had some amazing local craft beers.
No,
and so yeah,
American craft beer is good. American craft beer.
Oh yeah, so it's the big brands that produce the crap, and then the local small stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not even a beer guy. It's not really beer's really.
Yeah, I mean neither.
It's too filling for me. But
that's exactly it. That's why I switched to spirits and cocktails. Was like I remember I used to go out with friends, and after like 4 Guinnesses, you're just like you're like burping and like gurgling.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel like shit.
And you can stretch a good cocktail. If you stretch a good cocktail, you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's too funny, but hey guys,
I was a beer guy until you people existed to me.
So I gotta start getting off now. I do work in the morning. And you guys are like, I know Vino's an hour ahead of me, so he's later than I am. So
yeah, it's 10:42 here.
Yep. So guys, I appreciate you guys. I really had a good time with you guys. This is my first cocktail live, so I had a good time doing it. So I appreciate
It
it.
was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, Doc.
Yeah, and I know you're doing yours. I know you're doing yours kind of soon. When did you guys?
Yeah,
I know
let's do our shameless plug. Are we doing October 30th, right before Halloween?
October 30th, we're doing a similar Halloween themed event. We're going to be talking. So the format of the show is changing a bit. We're going to be each of us doing a cocktail. Anyone's invited to join us, but we'll be picking a particular pop culture topic to talk about all evening. And so this upcoming one, we'll be talking about horror movies all day, all night.
Ooh. And you know what?
So Doc and Bonnie, if you guys want to join us October 30th, we'll be going at 9 our regular time. So it is a weekday, but we'll be going at 9 till 11 or whatever, and that is Eastern for us. So a little earlier for you guys, I think. Or Bonnie,
I'll look at that if I'm available. I'll definitely join. And the interesting thing is, like he talked about the movie thing. I like your new videos where you're doing movie reviews. So I appreciate you start doing that.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob doing that.
Yeah, I haven't done one in a while.
You haven't done one in a while. I noticed that.
I found it's tougher. It's a tougher, because the cocktail videos I can plan them out. With these, it's like, if a trailer drops, I got to record something right away if I want to get the views in. So I found it's been harder to get those going. But no, it's still something I'm still the focus is on the cocktail channel, but that's something I'm gonna chug at slowly.
Yeah, I mean one channel is hard enough anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to definitely try to be on that live with you guys if I can. It depends what time of the middle of the week it is. If it's a Wednesday, probably not. If it's like a Thursday, Friday, then it's close to the weekend. I definitely
think
can.
It's going to be the Wednesday because Halloween is the Thursday, right? So we're doing the 30th. So right
We're
before
doing
Halloween.
the day for Halloween, yeah.
Let me look at my
If you wanna show
schedule.
up in a costume, do it.
If I don't have to work too early the next morning, I might. Because Wednesdays and Thursdays, I always have to drive to Brownsville, so I have to leave. It's an hour drive for me, so I have to leave extra early. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There'll be plenty more if you can't make it. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna try to do these more often.
Yeah, we're putting less emphasis in the drinking part of it because it made it harder.
Exactly. If we just do one drink a session, and then we don't get us shit faced, and we can just talk about fun topics and pop culture topics and stuff like that. Then we're it's easier for us to still be in tip-top shape the next day.
Especially when it's in the middle of the week. So
yeah, exactly.
Bino, you're the only one that hasn't plugged yourself. You want to do a plug before we go off?
Yeah, sure. Catch me on the Progress Bar on YouTube, Coach Vino LLC on Instagram. I love making cocktails with Mamaro, and I love sippy sippers, and I'm also a coach professionally, so I do a lot of little inspirational and motivational stuff in my videos. And love being part of this community. Love it.
It's a great community. It's a great community to be a part of, and everybody's so welcoming. And we're all from different lives and different cities and different places. And look at it, we get together on a Sunday night to have some fun, make some cocktails, and just have a good time. So I do appreciate all you guys,
ladies.
I appreciate all you guys. So you guys all have a good night. Appreciate you guys all joining us tonight, and be safe, be careful, and everybody that won, make sure to fill out that form so I can get these bottles out to you guys.
And remember, guys, when life gives you lemons, make yourself a cocktail.
Definitely.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Cheers.